When you build a character in Genshin Impact, there are generally 4 different areas of progression that you focus on: character ascension, weapon, talents, and artifacts. Each of these things costs resin to upgrade, whether it's in the form of ley lines, domains, or bosses. For most of these areas, it's very clear exactly how much stronger you get and how much resin it costs to upgrade that build path. For example, leveling your skill talent from 6 to 7 increases its damage by 7%, and it costs roughly 80 resin to farm the talent's essential materials. Ascending and leveling your weapon from 80 to 90 increases your damage output by approximately 9%, and it costs about 120 resin for a 4-star weapon and 180 resin for a 5-star weapon to farm the weapon's essential materials. While the exact numbers might vary, characters, weapons, and talents more or less deterministic how much stronger we're going to get from upgrading something. Estimate how much resin is going to cost us. Of course, there are some art upgrades that you might get unlocked in general, the variance is very small. This way, the character builds positive effects. The game says, turn, I will make your character 10% the model allows us to tell the character to invest our resin first, so we can upgrade the biggest return on investment, work our way down to the upgrade. There is one part of it not so quick. That is artifact of resin. Resin talents, weapons, and character levels are like a series of contracts. Resting your artifacts is more like spending a month inside of a casino, not knowing whether or not you're going to walk out with anything worthwhile. If you consider all the different variables that an artifact, the sheer number of possible options that an artifact would look like is a monstrously large number. Because of this, no matter how much resin you gamble away on an artifact domain, there's really no good way to exactly predict how much stronger your character will become after the market. Likewise, it's not very easy to estimate how much resin will increase our character's damage output by a certain amount. To help tackle this problem, I wrote a small program that can independently generate and upgrade 5-star artifacts on the probabilities that we are used in that domain. This allows us to simulate the process of building possible artifacts.
Don't be scared!
First evaluate whether the stats are comparable. Some stats can see if there are at least 1 or 2 subsets that are useful for an artifact that starts with substats. I'll first upgrade plus 4 to reveal that 4th substat, then further evaluate whether it's worth upgrading all the way to plus 20. If I do decide an artifact all the way,
Positions!
current artifact by comparing the expected damage output before and after artifact.
Committed to memory!
Repeat this process X number of times to effectively simulate what our character's stats might look like in artifact. As an example, here's what Wanderer's artifact stats might look like in this process for 180 artifacts for up to 4 weeks before farming. One problem that we face, though, is that because artifact generation is so random, if I run the exact same 4 weeks and get a completely different set of artifacts and a very different match for one,
take it easy.
it ends up creating some very inconsistent results that are difficult to draw any equal. One way we can mitigate this is simply
Busted. Things are about to get dicey.
You, Glade!
an average out
Hands with the weight!
so,
Please hurry a little. Make yourself at home.
always up to First, I tried simulating artifact farming. 2 weeks of farming, 3 weeks, so on and so forth. I just
Grow!
arbitrary maximum
Quietly now.
artifacts. Of course, we can always go higher. In a series of simulations, we can see how Wanderer's stats get stronger and stronger with farming. The number I'm most interested in tracking is the expected damage stat. This is just the product of the total attack, crit multiplier, damage percent multiplier, and reaction multiplier. Basically an aggregated stat that can tell us how strong our character is on offensive stats. This number to track how strong our overall build is at any given time. Now what we can do with this data is consider week 20 as our target stat goal, and then track how close we are to that goal.
Gotcha. Game's up. Fun so far.
Committed to memory!
Now that we have this data, we can see some pretty interesting problems. The first thing that we need is that we achieve over 60% of our 20-week goal after each
All eyes on me.
that quickly goes up to over
I see
70% after
everything.
week 2 and almost 80% after week 3. The key takeaway here is that the majority of our characters' power budget artifacts unlock in just the first few weeks of farming. If you understand how artifacts work, this actually isn't very surprising. Most of an artifact's power comes from its innate stats, and for most sets, set effects are also a huge part of what makes the artifact desirable in the first place. RNG is still a big factor in finding set pieces with the right main stats, but the randomness is still relatively mild compared to finding the right substats. It's reasonable to expect that we can find these desirable main stats within the first few weeks of farming and unlock most of that power budget that the artifact has to offer. The second thing that stood out to me is that at the halfway point of the simulation, or after 10 weeks of farming, we are already 95% of the way to our 20-week benchmark. Another way of framing this is that it takes just as long to achieve the last 5% of our goal as it did to reach the first 95%. This really puts into perspective how difficult it is to improve your artifacts after you get past a certain point. Once you've already hit these major stat benchmarks, trying to improve your stats anymore just comes down to making tiny micro-optimizations that cost you a ton of resin and barely increase your damage. Bringing this back to the question of resin efficiency, you can already start to formulate a strategy from what we've learned so far. To start building artifacts for a new character, I recommend starting off by spending about 2 weeks worth of resin to farm. And this time you're just looking for pieces that have the right meat effect for your character while also finishing the important set if that's something that you need. Pieces that you find in these first 2 weeks are probably not going to be great artifacts. But based on the data that you're
Quiet now. Things are about to get
far from
dicey.
perfect artifacts, as long as you have the right main stats, upgrade them to plus 20, you can still expect to unlock up to 70% of the total power artifacts have to offer. With a relatively small amount of resin used in these 2 weeks, this is a really good, very efficient usage of the resin. The second thing that we learned is that artifact markup quickly becomes very resin, especially by substance. Fine is actually not too bad. 10, 6, 3.5% organic, that's what the resin is actually not bad. Once you start going into week 6 and beyond, you're looking at mostly 1 to 2% for each additional percent farm. And that's really just not a very good rate of return for the resin that you're investing. The resin is much better spent on other parts of your build first. Get your weapon to 90, get your talents up to 8 or 9, level your characters to 90. All of these things are more resin efficient in terms of increasing your damage and trying to improve your artifacts beyond this 5-week benchmark. It's only after you've done all of these things that I would continue farming more artifacts. From this point, I usually aim for stats that are roughly around this 90 benchmark. Of course, there's nothing stopping you from farming at this point. You only get stronger from farming more artifacts. The key point that I want you to take away is that after approximately this 10-week benchmark, it's going to be really tough to make major improvements on your artifacts. Most weeks you will probably walk away with artifacts on weeks that you probably won't spend money maybe 2 weeks. So you're in the process of building characters, really do stop whether there are other places that you can spend your resin on before you get this deep.
Everyone hold hands. Yellowblade, you're up.
Up to this point, the quality simulation analysis will make a very good assumption.
Committed to
That
memory.
is that you only care about attack and crit rate. I actually picked Wander in this very deliberate, but he is a character that doesn't appear to much about having a lot of arm and attack. He just wants to raw offensive stats to maximize the whole artifact damage. Or you can come to in this sense, Wander is actually very about what he considers a good artifact. If it doesn't have all 3 attack, crit rate, and damage, it's probably going to want to
Don't be scared.
now, on the very opposite end of the spectrum, we have another damage dealer who's much better at utilizing all kinds of different stats. That's none other than our Spiral Abyss poster child, Xiangling. The key difference with Xiangling is that ER and EM are actually quite valuable stats on her that directly contribute to her damage output, on top of the traditional offensive stats like attack and crit. This means that Xiangling is much less picky about what she considers a decent artifact. For farming artifacts for Wanderer, when we come across a piece that looks like this, we're probably going to throw it away, or at least try to replace it very soon. It doesn't really offer a lot of value to Wanderer other than that piece. But if we're farming Xiangling,
One way to draw your target
we're
out
pretty
of
happy to
hiding.
see it. And directly amplifies Vaporize reactions. ER improves uptime on her burst, which is where the vast majority of her damage comes from. So this is a really good artifact for Xiangling, so it's not. Because she's able to utilize a lot of different substats effectively, she has a much bigger pool of viable artifacts to pick from. That having been said, let's see what the stat progression looks like when we run the 20-week simulation with Xiangling instead. What we see here is that the overall trend is still very similar. We still have this logarithmic curve where most of our progress is front-loaded in the first few weeks, hit that 95% mark right around week 10 again, and we very slowly approach the 20-week benchmark with each subsequent week. But when we compare this to Wanderer stat progression, we immediately see one key difference. The progress in the early weeks of farming is noticeably better for Xiangling. After week 1, we are 66% of the way for 20 gold compared to 60 for Wanderer. After week 2, we are 76% of the way there compared to 71. And this is directly related to Xiangling utilize other stats instead of just attacking crit. Even if you're not finding artifacts with perfect substats in those first 2 weeks, there's a much higher chance that you'll find at least a semi-decent artifact that still boosts Xiangling's damage, because she has a much bigger pool that she can work with. Key takeaway here is that it's generally less resin efficient to build characters that depend on just attacking crit, at least for the first few weeks. If you're building a character like Wanderer, you should expect that his damage will ramp up a little slower in the early stages of artifact farming, because you'll be looking for very specific pieces with a smaller pool of acceptable substats, which will naturally take longer to find. Some other characters that have similar build styles to this are Ito and to some extent Pet. On the other hand, characters whose damage scales off of several different substats ramp up slightly faster. This means that you can get them off the ground and at least somewhat working in just the first couple weeks of artifact farm. Aside from Xiangling, characters like Alhaitham and Sino are on this end of the spectrum. These are characters that utilize a lot of different stats to compound their damage, and it makes it a lot easier to find not perfect artifacts, but at least workable artifacts. Most damage dealers fall somewhere between these two extremes. Most characters have a desirable substat pool consisting of a primary scaling stat like attack or HP, and then crit rate and crit damage, and finally EM or ER, or sometimes both. Aside from the difference in desired substats, one other major difference between farming for Xiangling and Wanderer is that Xiangling uses the Emblem of Severed Fate set, which is a set that's available from the Artifact Strongbox. This means that even if we find an artifact that's not desirable, cycle it to give us another chance at finding something better. One thing that newer players might not know about the Artifact Strongbox is that it actually has a significantly higher chance of generating 4-line artifacts compared to artifact domains. Roughly 1 in 5 artifacts you get from domain runs will start with 4 substats. This rate is increased to about 1 in 3 for artifacts you get from the Strongbox. So not only does using the Strongbox give you a second or third chance at rolling a desirable artifact, but it also statistically produces better artifacts. When you compound these two benefits together, we end up cutting our farming time by a pretty significant amount. Let's see what our build progression for Xiangling looks like when I enable the usage of the Strongbox. This means that after we're done farming and upgrading the artifacts, we cycle all the artifacts that we didn't upgrade, and look for new artifacts to upgrade out of those that come out of the Strongbox. And we keep repeating this process until there are no more artifacts left to recycle. And this is what we get. At the end of the 20 weeks, we're about 2.4% stronger than if we hadn't used the Strongbox. And this alone doesn't sound very impressive. But rather than looking at how much stronger we got, I'm a lot more interested from a resin efficiency perspective, finding out how much faster we hit the same stat benchmarks compared to when we weren't using the Strongbox. In the original simulation we ran with Xiangling, we achieved about 90% of our 20-week goal in about 6 weeks. If we compare that against the run where we did use the Strongbox, we're now able to achieve that somewhere between 4 and 5 weeks instead. If we're aiming for that 10-week benchmark like I mentioned earlier, we're about 95% of our 20-week goal. The Strongbox allows us to build these benchmarks somewhere between 8 and 7. Again, let's just call that 7.5 weeks. Total, we save about 2.5 weeks of resin with artifacts. This is 2.5 weeks worth of resin we can use to start building comparatively sooner. We'll work on other parts of our build, making it clear the spiral of this that much sooner. The point is, being able to obtain extra artifacts from the Strongbox cuts down our farming time. Really big amount. If we look at week 14 of our Strongbox assisted run, we've already hit the 20-week benchmark from the original simulation where we weren't using the Strongbox. On average, we're hitting the same stat benchmarks, approximately 1.4 times faster as a result of the Strongbox. Another way to think about this is that the Strongbox multiplies our revenue by about 1% faster. So this is the Strongbox. These do not need your +0 5-star artifacts from Artifact Experience. Hold on to them, run them through the Artifact Strongbox for other sets that you need, and you'll save yourself weeks or months worth of resin.
Don't be
I've been
scared.
waiting.
I know some newer players
Fun's over.
Trunk
Quiet
box
now.
a lot of artifact experience,
Be careful
coffee,
with
and live
wisdom.
drugs instead. I struggle when I say this. The resin that you save using the trunk box is worth significantly more valuable than the experience of live drugs. Let's just consider the scarcity of the resources.
I see everything.
Top artifact experience is a lot of different
Stay put.
get a teapot, inspiration, from the 4-star and 3-star artifact, you get the main runs. Over time, you will very naturally accumulate an abundance of artifact experience. Resin, on the other hand, not so much. Extra resin is very difficult to come by, and that is intended by the game's design. Resin is one of the 2 premium resources in this game that ultimately gate your progress, the other one, of course, being fates, or more generally, primogems. At a very basic level, fates allow you to expand your character roster, and resin allows you to strengthen your roster. So given that resin is one of these 2 premium session gating resources, as I like to call it, it's really important to use every tool that you
Grow.
and the artifact strongbox is exactly one of the tools that can give a lot of additional value to the resin that you spend. One last thing I wanted to look at is what the skill progression looks like for a character that cares about one.
Don't be
A
scared.
prime example that many players already know about is
The banquet is near.
Hyper Beam Nerd, who cares about maximizing your defense. This is what her stat progression looks like.
Banquet must go on.
Prelude.
Gotcha.
What we see is that her progression or front-loaded in some ways. After just 1 week of March, we've already achieved 74% of the damage. Up to 20, and by week 4, we're already at 90%. Understanding why this happens is kind of related to the first major lesson. It's that the artifact main stat makes up the bulk of its different legends. And as it happens, M is available as a main stat on 3 different pieces: the Sands, Goblet, and Circlet. Once you find these 3 pieces with that EM main stat on them, there really isn't that much more room to improve the build. The only way you can get more EM is from the substats of the flower and plume, but those are relatively small increases in EM that are going to take a much longer time. There's a combination of the fact that Cookie only needs EM, and that she doesn't need to spend extra time looking for better substats on those 3 pieces that allows her to ramp up her damage so quickly. In general, characters that have mono-stat builds like this are extremely resin efficient to build. Don't Leave, most Anemo supports, and the damage augmenting family of supports are some other characters that fall into this category. These types of characters are really valuable to have in your roster because they add a lot of value to your team without requiring a large resin investment to start being effective. This is a big part of the reason why characters like Doki and Kazuha are used on so many different teams by a lot of different players. Of course, the main reason is that they have very strong generalized kits that allow them to fit into many different teams, but cost to build, time to find viable artifacts is often overlooked, but important factors,
Things are about to
especially
get dicey. Quiet.
Everyone hold hands.
if you are a veteran
Share
player
my
and
knowledge.
for a long time, you probably don't care much about resin options.
All eyes on me.
Probably have a lot of weapons already behind you, overabundance of potential materials, lots of plus 20 artifacts that are just waiting for the right character to pick them up. But if you're a relatively new player who's just starting to get into or late game, you can already feel that resin is extremely backwards in progress. And starting at AR 45, the resin that you need to spend on artifact farming is part of that challenge. With that having been said, I hope this video and the key takeaways that we covered gave you a better idea of how you should approach artifact farming in a way that allows you to get the most out of what limited resin you have. For a lot of people watching, there's a good chance you're already familiar with the concepts that we discussed. Prioritize main stats, focus on substats later, not exactly a novel idea considering how long theory practice has been around. But even if you are a veteran player, I hope the visualizations of the stat progression and the ability to quantify just exactly how much stronger we're getting per resin spent was still a valuable way. At least for me, these were the kind of findings that motivated me to write this program and make this video in the first place. Regardless of how far you are in Expansion, I hope you learned at least one new thing from watching this video. As always, thank you so much for watching.
Let's see. Nice.
I see everything.
Busted. Take it easy.
resistance to being frozen, so it won't be as effective on them. For this second half, I brought a quicken Hyper Bloom team. For the first wave, just go back to where you started and let those hilly trails charge towards you, which will easily group them for AoE damage. That's also where the next wave spawns, so it's a very convenient position to consecutively kill them. The next two waves have ranged hilly trails and a Geosama trail on one side, then two Mighty trails on the other. Focus on the ranged hilly trail group, and the Mighty trails will head towards you anyway. If the Geosama trail gets its pillars up, those can be broken fastest with heavy attacks and Zhongli's full skill, or you can suck them off the pillars with an Animal Vortex, or just use range attacks to reach them. The next half starts with 4 shrooms, and I prefer going to the back so I can edge bait them if ever they charge at me. The Dendro and Cryo shrooms fly up, while the Geo shroom can stagger you with headbutt attacks. The second wave has Fontaine Aberrants with their respective shield types. Swirling them together with Animo will make them reduce each other's shields, which is pretty convenient, but if you have their respective counter elements, those will quickly get rid of their shields too. Here, there are 4 offensive fun-moving beasts all across the map. You can just go focus on one, or go back to spawn point like I did, as they will eventually all move towards you, so grouping them won't be a problem. Next are 2 mechs. One spawns a turret. I focus on the right one and let the other melee mech charge at me, which groups them both, and from there it's easy to deal AoE damage to them. Getting rid of the one on the right also gets rid of the turret.
Take the Temple of Wisdom. Stay put. Cycle my strength.
In the second half, the consecrated beasts are making a comeback, though they're pretty easy here, and at least they spawn one by one only. They also focus on you, so you'll have no problems with grouping them or aggroing them to you. If they bring out their colored block thing, getting rid of that will make them vulnerable, and you can immediately destroy the fights with their own elements, while using other elements or physical attacks will be slower. So that's Dendro against the Fang Beast, and Pyro against the Vulture. That's your best chance to finish them off if you reach that point. Then try your best to avoid or shield against their attacks since they can hit hard and potentially stagger you.
Midnight Venture.
Everyone hold hands. Share my knowledge.
Things are about to get dicey. Quietly now.
Here.
For the last chamber, we get 2 Hydro Phantasms, so start by focusing on the right side one since it has a ranged attack. They're innate Hydro and can't be frozen in these states, so make sure you rely on other reactions or types of damage to fight them. Pyro is particularly effective since you can trigger Vaporize on their own Hydro Aura. Anyway, they seem quite close to each other, so you should be able to hit them easily with AoE attacks. Then you will want a reliable healer or shielder, or just be good at dodging their hits, because they can hit really hard. This last half of floor 11 spawns 2 construction mechs and 1 enhancer mech that buffs the other 2. If you're all the way forward past the enhancer mech and stay in the middle, the 2 construction mechs should swerve into each other as well. This is a good opportunity to start your AoE attacks and hit both of them. After their initial grouping, it can be a bit of RNG for how they'll move around, but they will still generally target you. Be careful of their swinging and spinning attacks, since those can stagger you quite a bit. Then the third mech will ideally die as you attack the other 2 with AoE attacks. Moving on to floor 12. In the first half, having a Hydro or Electro unit is recommended as they are the fastest at breaking Pyro and Dendro shields respectively, which you'll encounter in the first chamber. Having an Anemo crowd controller will also be great in the first 2 chambers for easy grouping. Freeze can also be a crowd control option, but just note that the final chamber boss cannot be frozen. Unfortunately, shielding can work against you here since the Husk enemies gain their own buffs if they attack you with a shield active, so it'll prolong the fight. It's preferable to use a healer here instead. For the second half, Quicken can help in the first chamber against Terror Shroom, but it's not that necessary as you can just brute force it with any team. The more significant consideration is the last chamber boss, which has a strong Geo shield. As long as you have a melee unit, you can use plunging attacks to destroy the shield with blood damage, since its gravity reduction allows you to do high jumps. Generally, you can get away with this, as I'll demonstrate later on. More convenient alternatives can be Zhongli, whose hold skill and burst reduce a huge portion of its shield health, Geo units in general whose Geo attacks are also effective against it, and Claymore users and plunge attackers for the blood damage. And of course, have strong enough healing or shielding to keep you alive. I'll be using the same teams for this floor. Starting with the first chamber half, if you have a Hydro or Electro unit, you can quickly destroy the Pyro Mage's and Breacher's shields. And if you have an Anemo unit, you can swirl the Pyro Aura of the Mage's shield onto the Breachers to help destroy their Dendro shields. You should ideally be dealing AoE damage to the Breachers, but if not, then you can just brute force with single target damage. Next are 2 operatives, and I guess one thing to note is that their HP bars are actually reversed from where you started, just in case you might lose track of who you're doing damage to. I prefer focusing on the one with the right HP bar who's on the left of the battlefield, because the other one tends to charge towards you anyway, so that can easily group them together. Be careful of the cross
Here comes the cat.
Elsewhere freeze you and apply Hydro or Hydro to yourself. It's preferable to deal AoE damage to them simultaneously, so you won't spend too much time trying to kill them one after another. But again, you can always just reinforce it if you have enough time to get them away. I'm going to ensure that I have full energy for the next chamber, and leaving 1 minute for the next boss can generally be enough for a full start clear.
Don't be scared! Grow, grow, grow!
In this body belongs to us.
So here's the chicken again, and if you've done previous abysses or fought it in the overworld, you know the drill. You can force it to become enraged, then disabled by inflicting it with quicken reactions, and watch out for its enraged attacks if it charges, but while it's down, its resistances are also reduced, so you can deal a lot more damage to it. If you use Pyro to burn it, it will summon shrooms, which aren't a big deal, but can be a bit annoying. Then of course, you can also ignore these reactions and just simply brute force it.
Ad Astra. Thank you for completing.
The first wave here is various elemental specters that are immune to their respective elements, but it's easy to kill them as long as you have different elements too. Crowd controlling them is also effective to easily deal AoE damage. Then the second wave is 3 Pyro Whopper Flowers. They tend to teleport towards you anyway, so grouping them shouldn't be that hard. If you have card controllers, then it'll be way easier. And then if they bring up their Pyro Shields, Hydro and Electro are the fastest way to break them. Breaking them stuns the Whopper Flowers, whereas letting them charge completely gives them ranged attacks. The last wave is 4 Shadowy Husks. When the Geohusk summons its barrier, just go behind it to deactivate it. I prefer going after the Animal Husk first with the bow at the right. Its range attacks are pretty annoying, and the other ones are melee, so they tend to go to you anyway. Try to push, bait, crowd control, and keep them all together as much as possible, so you can deal AoE damage and finish them off faster. If not, picking them off one by one is fine, though it'll take a bit longer. Also, be aware that you'll start to get the rolling ground damage thing, so if you're not careful, you may lose too much HP. In the second half is the Perpetual Mechanical Array, which is a very straightforward fight. It was featured in a recent Abyss cycle, so if you've done that, you know how this goes, and you can totally skip this. If not, then let's just recap. It telegraphs its attacks pretty obviously, so just keep on dodging them if you don't have a shielder. If it flies into the air, you can still continue attacking it if you have a ranged unit. After around 40 seconds, or at 30% HP, it enters its defensive mode and creates 4 Ruined Sentinels, which have their own attack and movement patterns. Look for the one with the ring aura. That's who you need to kill to make the PMA vulnerable again. If it's the Dorito, it dashes away from you, so as a trick, keep it between you and the PMA so it'll dash to the PMA. This way, it's easier to start hitting the PMA as soon as the Dorito is dead. If it's the crab, then it'll be very annoying to kill if it puts up its shields, so you can try stunning it by poking its eye or baiting it to the PMA so it'll jump on you. If it's the snake-like one, you can actually bait it beside the PMA since it will try to teleport towards you, which can also make it more convenient to kill the PMA afterwards. Once the PMA is vulnerable, then kill it ASAP. For the last first half, we have the Dirge of Coppelia. Coppelia will deal animal damage to you and
Oh fuck. What?
For the last first half, we have the Dirge of Coppelia. Coppelia will deal animal damage to you and push you around, while Coppelius will go around the battlefield and fire cryo-wave projectiles at you. You can try to keep him in your sight so you can track where he is and if he's attacking you. These attacks can also trigger reactions on you, like Melt from Bennett's Self-Fire application, so they can hit pretty hard when that happens. Coppelius always returns to Coppelia and restarts the cycle. It's mostly a matter of focusing your attacks on Coppelia and staying alive from their constant barrage of attacks, which follow a consistent pattern anyway. Dodging or strong healing will be important if you don't have a shielder. Memorizing Coppelia's attack patterns, if you're not familiar with it, will also help a lot. Finally, we have the newcomer in the Abyss lineup, the Fontaine Local Legend version of the Arithmetic Enhancer mech. Its special mechanics are summoning a strong Geo Shield and creating a gravity reduction field that can allow you to jump high. The shield won't be easily destroyed by normal reactions, and you'll want to use blunt attacks to destroy it. Melee punching attacks are an example of blunt attacks, so that's the default way to destroy the shield. Other options are using Claymore attacks, Geo attacks, and then Zhongli's Hold, Skill, and Burst are really effective against it. Once the shield is gone, a Noma attack can further disable it, but at this point you can deal damage to it normally and it'll be much easier to kill. If it puts up its shield again, then repeat the cycle until it's dead. And that's it for this cycle's Abyss guide. Comment down below what you think of the enemies in this Abyss cycle and what teams you use to defeat them. If this video helped you out, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all soon. Take care!
I created another universe and died.
Recently, I've been replaying all of the 2D Mario games for my upcoming ranking of every level. As I've been constructing my list, I've noticed a bit of a pattern in what things I do and don't like. In a previous level-by-level episode, I mentioned that I don't really like underwater levels. While that is the level type that makes up a majority of the bottom of the list, but they're not the only level type to be found at the bottom. One other type of level that I'm personally not much of a fan of are the tunnels. These like the camera on a set speed, which forces the player to more often than not go very slowly through the stage. These just feel tedious most of the time. While there are a few good ones, I think for the most part I'm not really a fan. Lucky for me, many of the 3D games don't really have auto-scroller. As they obviously take place in a 3D space, it's harder to really lock the camera and have it move set path. That's not to say they have to try. Mario 64 is one of my favorite games ever made. While Odyssey definitely has its beats, I still quite enjoy many aspects about it. That is not to say the game is perfect, though, not by a long shot. Many of its stages are honestly pretty good. Both of the water stages are pretty annoying to go back to, and to many, they're the worst stages in the game. However, I think there's a level that's so terrible, it just barely edged them out. That would be the final main stage of Rainbow Rock. Welcome to another episode of Level by Level. Today's episode is actually going to be a bit of a quick one since I'm busy this week. Normally these level by levels are really long since I love the phrase them. So I thought, hey, let's be a hater instead. Rainbow Ride is probably my single least favorite 3D Mario stage on the double head. And in this video, I'm going to do my best to explain why. I'll be separating this into a few sections. I'll start with the level's aesthetic, then move on to the layout, and then end with 7 stars. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel at 200k, ranking every 2D Mario level, or let's jump right into the aesthetic. Alright, Rainbow Ride's aesthetic. For player Roblox hobby. Yeah, so right off the bat, Rainbow Ride's aesthetic is one of my least favorites. Now, it's supposed to be this game's main sky level, which I guess it does accomplish by
Traveler, Paimon,
sky, but pretty much
how's the
everything
potion
else
making
we
been
see
going
here
lately?
has nothing to do with the jump. I guess there are a few things I like, so let's get those out of the first. What was I finding? Let's just keep on. Every other aspect of the stage is literally just random. There's just like a floating house here. Who lives there? There's also just a maze. Okay, sure, why not? And if you look at the bottom of the stage, just a whole lot of random obstacles. I'm sorry, I love the But are you guys starting to see my problem? There's absolutely no cohesive theme. One of my favorite things about levels in 3D Mario games are the world they build. It's the reason I even bother discussing aesthetics in these videos. Every other level in Mario 64 has a pretty strong theme behind it. Bob-omb Battlefield is a battlefield at the foot of a mountain, Shifting Sandland is a desert surrounding a pyramid, and Digby's Haunt is a spooky ghost level. But the most you can say about Rainbow Ride is that it's random objects thrown in the sky. Sure, I guess you could argue that makes it unique, but this rock hopper house I made in Minecraft is also unique, isn't it? And you know what? So I'm kind of reconsidering that uniqueness compliment because that certainly does not apply to the music. Now, most stages in this game do share themes with one another, which is fine as long as it fits. Both snow stages share a theme, both water stages share a theme, that all makes sense. Rainbow Ride uses the slide theme. Now yeah, this is a good song, but I really don't feel like it fits that well. Tick-Tock Clock also uses it, but I feel like it fits there more with its chaotic nature. The slide theme is very fast-paced, and as we're sadly about to see, that doesn't really fit Rainbow Ride all too well. I think it's time we take a look at the layout. While the aesthetic was certainly mediocre, I could have easily forgiven it if the layout of the course was at least fun. Title this video the worst 3D Mario stage. Do you think it's going to be fun? Now, if you just look at the map of the stage, you can basically already tell there's no cohesive design here. A lot of the stages in Mario 64 and other games have the main path with areas built off of it for the exploration. Taking Bob-omb Battlefield, for example, we can easily draw a path from the spawn point all the way up to the top of the mountain, and we can see that the other elements of the stage are built around it. So the chain chomp guarding the gate is right before the tilting bridge, the red coin stars spawn right after it, and so on. But if we take a look at Rainbow Ride here, there's not really a singular destination at all. Now, that's not a bad thing by itself. I mean, we recently did an episode on Odyssey Seaside Kingdom, and I praised it for doing basically the same thing. The difference here is that it's not really done to help build exploration, it's just to have a bunch of unrelated junk. But if this is all floating in the sky, how do we get to it? Well, do you remember those rainbow roads I said I liked before? I lied. These right here are the main reason this level is so awful. In this stage, there are a total of 4 rainbow paths that help you reach several of this level's different locations. Now, you can't stand on the rainbows. Instead, you have to ride moving carpets on them. But these things take forever. A majority of your playtime in this stage will be purely waiting, which makes coming here an absolute nightmare. This is why I mentioned auto-scroll levels at the start of this video, because that's basically what Rainbow Ride is. If you want to reach the house, you have to take a carpet. If you want to reach the ship, take a carpet. In fact, want to do anything in this level, take a carpet, because it's the very first thing you're shown here. Now yes, you can skip this carpet by long jumping over to this pole. In fact, many of these carpets can be skipped with tricky jumps. But I also want you to look at this from the perspective of a younger, more casual player. The intended method to do anything here is to take the carpet. This first carpet ride alone takes about 25 seconds, which you have to do at least 6 times. And I say at least because babies are probably bad at the game, so after every death they have to do nothing but wait for an eternity to get a chance to try again. Now, like I said, you can indeed skip this, and that does make this stage a little bit better to play. But if a majority of the player base is straight up not having fun most of the time, I think there's a pretty big problem. Now, once you get off that first carpet, the stage basically becomes a picket path. You're placed on these spinning platforms with a lakitu over your head while you decide which way to go. Pretty much each path just leads directly to a star without the paths really feeling like they overlap much. Essentially, that makes the stage just turn into a collection of random linear platforming challenges and auto-scrolling, which does not help this beat the Roblox obviality. So looking back at this initial intersection, you can go left for 2 stars, straight forward for 1, and right for 3 stars. Keep in mind, though, that if you decide to go right, you're doing yourself this carpet torture. There's not really much more to say about the layout without spoiling the stars, so I guess I might as well just get into that segment. So far, though, Rainbow Ride is really not looking too hot. You know what, just to have a little bit of fun because I know Rainbow Ride sure as heck isn't, we'll be throwing each of these stars into a tier list. Every main Mario 64 stage has 7 stars if you include the 100 coin stars, so we'll be taking a look at all of them. Starting us off with star number 1, Cruiser Crossing the Rainbow. We start this star off the same way we will for every single star in this video, by taking the 25-second carpet ride. How exciting. Alright, well once we get up to the spinning platforms, we then take a right, which means more carpet. Now there are, I guess, a few obstacles to avoid, like there are 2 blocks in your path, real challenging and interesting game design right there. This carpet ride with the extremely exciting obstacles lasts for over 40 seconds. But luckily after this breakable block, you can get off this carpet and start riding another one. Yeah, this second carpet literally just leads you to 2 more, one going toward the house and the other toward the ship. So taking the ship carpet ride, we have actually a slightly more interesting obstacle with the spinning platform. I do mean slightly, don't get your hopes up. The bottom of it has fire to burn the player, and the platforms attached to it can knock the player off if they aren't paying attention. Annoyingly though, you have to circle all the way around this platform, which just feels like filler to make this slightly longer. When I was younger, I also just like to stand on the spinning platform instead of the carpet. But if you do that, you have to be careful because your carpet might just vanish. Anyway, moving past that, we then have to jump over 3 big blocks and then a pointed block, which I guess is a good evolution of the concept since you might slip off the slope, but you really don't have to change what you have to do at all. That does finally bring us to the end of the carpet ride though, as we could jump onto some donut blocks and then some solid ground. That puts us right next to the level's highlight of the ship. Unfortunately, you spend like 2 seconds there because the star is out in the open. Yeah, after having to wait on carpet rides for around 2 minutes, I was hoping for something a little more exciting. Now yes, you can skip some of these with tricky jumps, but that does not excuse how long and boring the intended method here is. So for being needlessly long and boring, Cruiser crossing the rainbow can stay in D tier. The fact that you can jump past the carpets is the only thing preventing this from being an app. Star number 2, the big house in the sky. I'm sure just based on the name you can figure out which direction we're heading in for this star. So after wasting 25 seconds of our lives, we then get to waste another 40 seconds of our lives on the second carpet before reaching the split path we saw on the last star. I do want to say though, this is already a really bad sign of things to come. That was just a minute of entirely repeated content with 0 changes whatsoever. If there's one thing that makes an auto-scroller worse, it's doing it multiple times. We're only on star 2 and we're getting repeats, and trust me, this isn't the end. But taking the carpet up to the house, it has a much more vertical path than the other. I actually do think that leads to a decent obstacle. There are 2 very tall walls that the carpet will phase through that Mario cannot, so you have to try and find a way up them. You can either use the donut blocks off to the sides, or try and make the big leap off the carpet itself. Personally, I always backflip at the last second since it gives you just enough height. Sure, this obstacle may not be anything crazy, but I do think it works pretty well. I guess that took away all their obstacle energy though, because we then go for another 30 seconds without anything in our path. Yeah, not even blocks, it's just blank. How could they think this was interesting at all? There's literally nothing to do but wait. Well, after that agony finally ends, you enter into the house and have to avoid fire from a fireplace, which I guess is kinda cute but not hard to do at all. Now, if Nintendo didn't hate their player base, the start could have ended right here. But no, the carpet has to go back outside. From here, we just have to avoid some easy to dodge amps until we make it back into the house another 30 seconds later. Eventually though, if we manage to dodge the fire, we can rise up to the roof and finally grab this star. That was so boring. Sure, there are a few tiny things I liked, but the long stretches of nothing are absurd. What's even worse is that unlike the Cruiser Star, you basically had to take this carpet for the longest time. For those of you unfamiliar with Mario 64 speedruns, there was a trick known as Carpetless that let you skip this, but it required such complicated glitches that it was near impossible for a human to do. It wasn't until very recently a version was discovered that could actually be done in runs, which meant that no matter what, for over 2.5 decades, you had to wait on this carpet for several minutes doing literally nothing. Yep, I'm moving this to F tier. The least they could have done was either make the carpet ride shorter or add obstacles, but no, we have to suffer. Star number 3, coins amassed in a maze. Guys, I don't want to alarm you. You actually have a good star. This is the stage's red coin star. Every main level of Mario 64 has one where you have to collect 8 red coins. Now there are many different approaches stages can take for these. Some have the 8 coins spread throughout the whole thing, whereas others have the red coins focused on just one location. In the case of Rainbow Ride here, all of the red coins are just found in one small area. Generally, I prefer the approach of having them spread across an entire stage. If this is Rainbow Ride we're talking about, I am happy to not take my carpets. That doesn't get us out of the beginning ride, but once we reach the spinning intersection, we can head straight. This puts us directly into the maze, and every single red coin is placed inside here. Be careful, there's some bombs! Ooh. In order to navigate it, you have to jump around several obstacles using a combination of pretty much every jump type you have access to. The platforms are also quite small here, making it a good challenge. I honestly think this fits quite well as a more difficult take on the star type. Trying to do this as fast as possible is actually pretty fun too, so you know what? Good job, Rainbow Ride. I'll give this star a solid A tier. Let's hope this stage can keep it up. Star number 4, Swinging in the Breeze. Alright, 25-second carpet ride, you know the drill by now. This time though, we get to take a left at the intersection and go down this pole. I think this is also a good time to remind you all that you can always long jump to here from the start, so if you can, do not waste your time on the stupid carpet. Anyway, this star is all about being a platforming challenge with a bunch of random elements. First you gotta tilt the platform so you can reach the real challenge. That puts you face to face with the swinging platform the star is named after. There's 2 you'll have to use here in total, and this acts as a safe tutorial by having ground underneath in case you fall off. I think that's pretty nice for teaching the players how this element works, even if it wasn't 100% necessary. That brings us to a few donut blocks which we quickly jump off onto another tilting bridge. This time we have to angle it so Mario can squeeze between 2 other sets of donuts, bringing him up to the second layer. There's a fire bar you have to jump over, but it's pretty low to the ground so there's not much to worry about. Then you have to quickly jump for some more donuts onto a moving platform, which I think works pretty well, as the donuts falling may force a player to jump a longer distance than they otherwise would have. But that brings us to the scariest part of the whole stage. Okay, but actually from there you have to climb up this weird slope with boxes in it, and then you finally reach the second swinging platform, completely over the void this time. This is a solid evolution on the concept, and it does feel quite intense. Jumping off this platform is also made a bit more scary with the extra fire bar, but if you manage to brave it, you earn the star. This one's alright. No real problems, but it is honestly kind of forgettable. I think I'm going to put it at a solid C tier. Not bad. Star number 5, Tricky Triangles. Carpet Ride, yay. This also brings us down to the pole path, but unfortunately, since this area is perfectly linear, we end up having to repeat a lot of the last star. Luckily, that is not nearly as bad as repeating a carpet ride, so I'm not going to cry too much about it. The difference comes when we reach the Goomba, where we instead go straight instead of up the slope. This has us jump between a few donut blocks. Oh, there I go. This has us jump between a few donut blocks before reaching the titular Tricky Triangles. There's a switch here that when you activate it will cause all the triangles to temporarily flip, letting Mario stand on them. He has to be fast though, they'll quickly turn back into slope form and force him off. This is pretty fun to try and run through, honestly. You can even make a few little shortcuts by side flipping through the triangles like this. The timer is also fairly tight, so I think this is a good obstacle. That then brings us right to the star, so overall it was a pretty fast one. I'd say I like it slightly more than the last star, but it's still a C tier, since a majority of the star is sadly repeated from swinging in the breeze. Star number 6, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. This is one of the worst stars in the entire game. First off, that name is absolutely no help. Every other name pointed in a specific direction, but this literally just says somewhere. Oh yeah, very helpful. Now normally I don't mind cryptic names too much since exploring can be fun, but I do not want to waste my time exploring the stage when it's so tedious. Now luckily, if there is one saving grace, it's that since it's the last star, you can use process of elimination to figure out the only place you haven't gone to is this island, which does indeed hold the star. How do we get there? Well, that isn't made clear at all, but the best clue you have would be the ship. Maybe there's a wing cap on there or something. So you take off on the super long 2-minute journey on the carpets. Well, when you finally get up to the ship, you discover to unlock a cannon. Okay, so you are very likely to have wasted an entire trip coming up here, which is made even worse by the fact that it's the exact same trip as the first star. But that brings up the question, where's the Pink Bomb? Have fun exploring! Yeah, so if you're unlucky, I can imagine some players taking the carpet all the way up to the house to try and find the Pink Bomb, since there are no obvious pointers. Luckily though, you don't have to ride any additional carpets to find it, as they're just hiding in the maze. But the fact that they're hiding at all in this stage means that several players are going to waste a ton of extra time riding carpets. Speaking of, we get to do that too now, since we actually do have to ride up to the ship. So once we waste another 2 minutes, we can finally get back up there. We finally get back up there and into the cannon. Luckily, the shot is really easy since there's a circular rainbow indicating where to shoot, which brings us onto the island. On here is just a chuck ya and a block from the star. You definitely don't want to get thrown off here, so you just have to get the star as fast as you can. Yeah, so overall, this is garbage. Not only do you basically have to do the entirety of Star 1 all over again, but Star 1 was a slow auto-scroller, which makes this star feel like an even worse waste of time. And that's not even factoring how many players won't know that they need a cannon until it's too late. So no matter how you look at the star, I don't see how you could like it. They clearly ran out of ideas for stuff to do, so they just reused the ship, which is so incredibly lazy. Easy F tier. I cannot stand this star. Star number 7, 100 coins. These are always hard to judge since everyone will of course do it differently. As the name implies, you just have to collect 100 coins, and what's nice is that you can do it at the same time as any other star, as it won't get you out of the stage. Rainbow Ride actually has a surprisingly high amount of coins. Grand total of 156. A good portion of that comes from the stage's point switch, which is found in the maze area. It's actually a pretty neat point switch, as it requires you to quickly wall jump up the maze to get all the coins. Sadly though, wall jumping is hard to do. If you do manage to do it though, that helps a lot with the 100 points. At the same time, you can still get 100 points without it. You'd just be sitting beginning for coins. Personally, I always just start the stage with coins, and if I miss too many, I restart, which is fairly painless. If you manage to get all the blue coins, or heck, even if you miss a few, you can actually get all 100 points you need without taking the carpets except for the one at the start. That is such a relief. This star had potential to be an absolute nightmare with us having to ride every carpet to every location. So for giving us the option to not sit on an auto-scroller and a pretty cool point switch, I think this deserves a B. But yeah, after taking a look at all those stars, I think you can understand why I hate Rainbow Ride so much. It is both extremely slow and extremely repetitive. Two of the worst things I think you can find. I don't know if there's nothing to get from the stage aesthetic-wise either, and I think it's safe to say that this is the game's worst stage. I mean, even the water stages have a good look and fantastic songs, so I think my decision for Rainbow Ride's placement in the Mario 64 level-by-level tier list is clear. F tier. The very first F tier level in this entire series to get its own. But anyway, that's it for this video. Are you a massive Fly Guy fan and hate me for not mentioning the one in the stage at all? Let me know in the comments. I'll be honest, I was expecting this to be much shorter than it ended up being. I guess I ended up having a lot more to say. Not that this is particularly long, but it is long enough to the point where I have to cross my fingers to get this out in time. So if it's a bit late, I apologize. But anyways, Rybones for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.
I've taken Pokemon Emerald, Fire Red, and Crystal and smashed them together into one giant map. And then, I randomized it. So if I stepped into a Pokemon Center in Kanto, I might end up in Hoenn Sky Pillar or a random city in Johto. In order to beat the game, I could find all 24 gym leaders, 12 Elite Four members, 3 champions, and Steven, and then defeat them in the order. I'll be tracking the gym leaders I find on the tracker right here, and then crossing them out as I eliminate them. Might be asking what from. There's over 800 doors between these 3 games, so how on earth are we going to keep track of everything to find these gym leaders? With this, I'll be mapping out our path with a red string and a drink. It all starts how it normally would, the little moving truck in Little Root Town. Dude, that'd be crazy if that was the first war. I'm only giving myself running shoes, specifically so that it's just a little bit faster. Alright, wait. Here we go. Oh! Wait! That's a word? Oh, wait. I don't have a Pokemon. How do we start? Wait, we instantly stop. Wait, what happens if I actually get a battle? Okay. Oh, and mutation. How am I supposed to put this on the wall? Oh, welcome home. Not my house. Wait, what? That's not my house, that's not my mom! That's not... Where'd my mother go? Where's Alex now? What? Wait, no. I've broken this already. This has gone off the deep end real fast. Let me go here. Oh, we're in Little Root. Nice. Oh, I have a blood... And I have no name. This is probably fine, right? Let's start experimenting. So, first off, we have our own house ready. Oh! Pokemon. Let's check out the lab next, right? Like, where does the lab go? Okay, we entered the lab and ended up at the bin, right? So we're going to start by putting the red and leading it towards the oh, there we go! The first connection, right there! Jesus, what did I want? The worst thing you've ever seen in your life. Correct. And then what's got here? This is Slowpoke Well. Alright, let's see if we can get some good Pokemon here. Golbat is... Wait, is this first try? Yo! Let's go! This Golbat's gonna be with us for, like, comrades. Let's go right here. This house. Pokemon Mansion. So we're in Oldale Town.
Deep breath,
I'm gonna
as if
follow
you're about to blow up a huge balloon. Exhale all your sleepiness into it, and then...
Oh! Look at that!
It's not
And we
quite
found
away.
Gym 3!
Hello, everyone.
Minto. You can see right
I forgot about that.
Let's see this one next. Where's this?
Whoa, is that Master D?
Oh!
Whoops, this is a little awkward.
Need someone as
Hi,
busy as you
D,
to
and-
look at the lights.
One's up in C. Right for
Elzer told me the Knights launched a new commercial endeavor that turned out to be quite the hit.
And then this is the
I think he was a bit surprised by the but seeing as you two are the ones in charge, I'm really not surprised at all. The Knights...
Elzer is the manager of Dawn Winery, right? I thought he didn't get out much. Wait, are we that famous on...
No need to sound so surprised. The winery keeps us all very busy.
I hope that never happens.
Elzer only takes the time to brief me with this sort of intel if he thinks we are faced with a real threat. In such a short amount of time, you've been able to establish complete production and supply lines. If you were in the wine business...
Threat? Rival?
Oh, you sure looks like you really want to go toe-to-toe with the #1 wine merchant in all...
A competition. You're extremely knowledgeable and well-traveled. If we were to become competitors, but I was really just using the wine industry as an example to emphasize your... Actually, the success of your potion.
Good for your business. Paimon's lost. You were just talking about...
It's a bit convoluted. Alcohol is a commodity that most people consume in their free time. In order to have free time, though, you have to get off...
That's exactly right. Your potions allow people to work more efficiently. As they get more popular,
Oh, that makes sense. It's hard to be in the mood. Paimon never thought about it that way before. Guess this means we're in the Mora-making business together, then. Hey!
I do have quite the... Well, since you offered, please make a potion that can reduce the anxieties of the user while also
Reduce anxiety while also improving the user's attention? I must admit to being curious. If my cuties...
Well, I mentioned before that people with ample free time are an important consumer base for my industry. After a period of high stress, like a busy workday, it can take a while for people to fully decompress. It's also that level of stress and exhaustion makes it hard for people to derive pleasure from things they...
You can say that again. Paimon's definitely been there before. Sometimes, after a really long day, Paimon will be...
Oh, my poor little cutie.
So basically, you need us to make a potion that decreases tension but increases attention.
Exactly. Wine is meant to be savored. Drinking it without being able to appreciate... If we can increase the alertness of those too exhausted to perceive the subtle notes, but decrease...
Well, it's definitely a unique request. We should get to thinking then. First things first.
Okay, please don't piss off like that. Oh, maybe actually.
Perception, probably.
How's the potion coming? Have you finished?
So this is Oliver, a lot of straws, more straws, and now we're Sprout Tower, which is another straw.
No.
Yeah, whether we hunt Jim the next 36 minutes. Yeah, let's do that. Just work for trying to Jim 30.
Well, this one's already perfect, apparently, so...
We're finished with the potion, Master D-Luke. Please give it a try.
Oh, I thought you might need more time. But it looks like you've already found the secret.
Discovery.
Wow. The effect is even more. On behalf of Dawn Winery, I would like to make a bulk purchase order for this potion. Oh, and don't worry about the delivery side of things. My plan is to enlist the help of artisans to infuse candles and fragrances with the effects of this potion.
So you plan to make alchemical potions part of the wine drinking experience itself?
If our potion was enough to impress Master D-Luke, I'm sure regular customers are gonna...
Well, there's still work to be done, so I should probably head out. In any case, it's been a pleasure working with you. Oh, and if you have some time, you should...
Sure! Paimon can't wait.
Now that we're here, we can do the Jim 3, right? And please, funny, you Goldenrod, and from Goldenrod, we can go to the abandoned ship, and from the abandoned ship, we go to the full harbor, just to start. Woo! Look at that! Here we go! The important thing about Jim 3 is that we can now use supply. Which means, while I still have to get something on board, we just, teleport. That's assuming we find the ancient supply. We have yet. We have now beaten. Then, another one cross off the bar. But now let's discern where we find it. So, what we do is we actually need to go back here. So this one, that brings us to the abandoned ship. And then, go to Furniture. Now that we're in Furniture, we go here, and this is your... There we go. Wait, we don't have time. Wait, I can't face Erica because I don't have time? Oh, that hurts. That hurts. What I really want to see right now is to find HM Fly. Particularly, the best way to get Fly is in Oh, HM7. Nice. We got one. Right, let's get it done that we have one. The Lily card goes to... This is... What? Yes! Yes! The Erica now! You haven't discovered a lot. Yeah, all these considered. It's just good there. Okay. See, nothing. Okay. I guess you can be our HM, let's be HM. They can learn that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Alright, what's your name? You that Abby gets a big berry. To be with us the rest of the run, we'll name you as, and it is going so well. And we got HM02. That's fine. Check. Pretty awesome, Grandma. I'm concerned. We don't have the badges needed just to use fly in Hoenn. We have it in Fire Red Blade Green. Let's see if it actually works in Hoenn as well. Oh my god, wait, that's actually so green too. Oh, let's understand I think across the entire universe play. We can teleport but since we're in Boston, we actually can't teleport to Boston. Never found the Boston Pokemon Center. Only the Pokemon Centers we've actually visited. I think we actually want to go to Combos because we've never been instructed. Alright, let's go into here. Let's see if we can find another gym. The Victory Road. Okay, we got Psychic. Alright, next one is up here, then we're done with Combos. Meteor Falls. Wait, is this Steven? Oh, that's not Steven. I guess we'll find out who that is. Okay, so this is oh my god! We found another gym! That's the third gym in Hoenn! That was a long string.
I've already made every possible combination of wisdom.
Yes. Or like the bottom right of first rank. That is such a find. I will think more in Kanto, and then we go up here and it's some more. Wow, there's a lot of stuff. Okay, so get up here, and I use Wisdom 1! We have not got a Wisdom 1 yet. That is ridiculous. Let's go to the gym. I mean, we'll get back to the Rusty anyways. I think this is on. Oh! Let's go! Wait, so we found the middle. That's great. That's the jungle. Making a lot of progress here. Right. The last port of Pier City is the Single
Wisdom and
straw into where? Let's see what cavern is still flying. The one. Bitch, do you think Rome was built in a day? Do you see this?
Wisdom and strength. Have I not made that yet?
Don't provoke me, alright? When you're doing your bomb constantly every day, she claims. Also, I'm doing a Maverick.
Wisdom and dexterity.
Yeah, we have a snake. It's roughly 6. Alright, let's go here. Road, and yes! We found Bruno! Anto!
Wisdom and strength is done too.
Right, just so I don't forget. Not yet, okay, you don't mind
Yeah,
me,
holy shirt.
You don't remind me immediately after I say remind me, but you can wait a little bit. And no, I remember now, because you're telling me. That's not what I'm talking about. Give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes, now I can remind you. 5 minutes. 5 minutes from now, remind me that I have it at you, okay?
I don't have a raw constitution potion, so let's do that.
That's not it. Why are you reminding me that this is a reminder? You need to see the reminder itself. No, I don't want that. I don't want. See? Jasmine, she lives at the lighthouse. Oh my god! Oh, how are we good? Jasmine, have to find Jasmine? Alright, Jasmine's not currently in her gym. Part of the Johto or main quest is that you have to find medicine and then up the lighthouse and then talk to Jasmine. Jasmine is Ampharos, the Ampharos is healed, and then Jasmine. Thing is, we just found the medicine and we have to find the lighthouse. And also Jasmine. And then we can do the gym. That means we're done with Pewter, actually. So we can actually start Azalea Town as well. Alright, what's in the and then the SA, right? That's for a second. That's the next right there. Do you see that, guys? Look at multiple best placed there. Let's start discovering all of some of the purpose. Let's go bottom right. Oh, this is the no. That's insane. Okay. the science report one is Pokemon Gym. So this isn't all work, which is actually that's it. For left. It's wait. Oh! Our third mother! Is this what Mother 3 is about? Story about the back then, I just need to go to
Man, that sure is lucky.
some places that started. She go to left. Okay, well, we found probably okay, sure. Sorry, I was a little tired because my map was a little wrong. They were Sydney. Right, and then from Sydney. Coal mine City. Yeah, we don't have a coal mine. That's great. Let's I guess let's might as well. Okay. And in City, we found the Jimmy in Hoenn. Now, this is mine here. I realized around halfway of Great Lord. Jimmy isn't Wallace. You've been lying to this one. Do you remember that? Was that just a revelation for me, or did you guys already know this? No. You forgot Wallace? Oh, wait, Wallace is There's Wallace! He's there! Oh, you know what? The dude left or right. I want to do the Pokemon mark here. Alright, what's the mark? Alright, so one, straw. Oh, and we found another Elite Four! Let's go! I'm correct, that is Elite Four Terran, which is huge. Because the entire Elite Four were Johto. And now let's start on the rest of the Warp Series. Okay, Warp Islands. Oh, we got something important here. Wow! Should probably try to I have found Erica. So we go through the SDF, right? Get up that ball armor, and immediately go to work. And for second from the bottom, should be Erica's. Like that. And there we go. We have never defeated Erica. Arthropolis. And another customer serve. No, nothing. Nothing. I think it's lower. You write down this one's actually Scarpella. You guys just see that? What do you mean the kid didn't know? I'm not. Check out Sailor City. Let's see what's in here. And it's a Pokemon Center. Of course, again, but then we probably found. Well, we haven't found it yet. Oh, we found Lugia! Oh my god, this is the legendary Pokemon we wanted. Oh, we found Lugia in exactly 10 hours. Let's do. No, we did Dewford. That makes Legend Dewford. Makes me believe that already in Dewford. You're officially halfway and everything. Alright, Dewford. Fine. Go to the gym. What the hell? Oh! This is the player! The gym leader after you beat her. And now, wait, we just get the guy. Yeah! Wait, I forgot! If you beat her in the gym, it doesn't matter because she runs away screaming, crying. Find the same point. Okay, yeah, we're at bad. We're picking up 5 waterfalls. I don't just have to get it. No, it literally does. Yeah. Look, I have the bat. Alright, and there's no one taking hey, we count. We're slightly out of order, but it's alright, you know? I didn't expect that. I totally thought that existed. Blast off! Alright, go. And then there's no way we found the champion! Why is that Steven? That sure belongs. This doesn't make sense! Damn it! This is the Ruby Sapphire! This is Emerald! I mean Gaslit. I literally found yet another, target back to back. I guess we'll start the thing. Hello. Woo! Oh, the Rock Smash line! Oh, we need Rock Smash! Oh my god, yes! Oh my, I love the Rock Smash, man. I would Rock Smash any goddamn thing. Yeah, I guess we'll check out Violet City. That's all right. And then the arts. Mirage Tower. Oh, no. In Mirage Tower, you have to use the lock pipe, and specifically, you have to do it in such a way where you can go through and go further cracks. Watch this, guys. Oh, he's sick with it. He's insane. Oh my god, he's literally insane. Let's go. Alright. Good first try. Let's go. Can we get this spray beach out? Oh my god, that's such a good find. I'm so glad we did that. Yeah, that's huge. We have cut, fly, surf, strength, flash, rock, smash, waterfall. You just can't use all of them. I'm going to go to Civil Life. I want to go to Violence. And then let's go down the list of principal. Weather Institutes. This is a... Next. Okay. This is a countdown to... right around the... Right. I told you there were things here! I told you there were things in Ruins of Hell! Yes! And Lance, my friendly friend. Yeah, we literally, look at this. You all work them out free across the whole world. Okay, so, we found, Lance there. Let's go in here. What's next? We get Lance. There's the backwards over here. That's fine. Things go down here. What's this? Oh, what's it, Steven? Thank you so much. We're not people. We're not talking. Every each other, we just need to get the badge. Oh, I just, all of mine, right? Right. Up here. Oh. Oh! Yeah! I should have finished all of mine! Oh, the mahogany found one London. That's so fun. It was literally right on my nose the entire time. Okay, well, we found another Damn, 7. And then, let's check out the... I put up all of mine for so long, and everything's a gym! One level again! Oh my god, it's Gym 4 in Hoenn. Right, there's one more here. Oh, it's right here. And it's a Holo! Dude, why didn't I find all of mine earlier? What the hell? Are you kidding? All of mine has everything! Oh my god, that's insane. It's been like 12 hours be like, yeah, I'll check all of mine. Our real color is Luigi. That's Mahogany Town. Alright, the park is lavender. The fact that a lot of this thing's lavender is not good. Because I thought lavender would have a lot more digs and stuff. And, we have to know. Let's do the left first from the city. And yeah, this is the gym. It's all coming together. Which means if we find gyms 1 and 2 in Hoenn, we can actually go all the way to gym 6. I think we've got all of everything. Let's go to Pure City. We can use our Silpscope to check out Wonder. This is the top part of the tower where we need the Silpscope. I've got the Silpscope earlier with Giovanni. We should be able to do this. Nice. Awesome. And then now we can check the score behind the Silpscope. Demo Violence. Okay. That's Strauss, which is fine. Back to Silpscope. Fine! Fine! We're going to do Silpscope. I broke it. Okay, I will do Silpscope. Okay, floor is Outpost City. Silpco. Second floor is... Oh! The top of the lighthouse! Find medicine. Go to the top of the lighthouse. Jasmine medicine. Emperor's Jasmine. I just don't have the medicine. We found the gym and we found the lighthouse. We just haven't found the medicine yet. Let's finish up last week though. I have to remember that she wasn't left. I've already. Alright, except for the book part is Seaport Tower. Check it out, too. I have Sacred Pro. I think there's also another.
Bruh, really? You're trying to dope? I don't encourage this. But, well, stonks are stonks.
You know, the Hoenn guy. Great, okay, I get them mixed up so often. There we go. And another one. That's awesome. We're going to Meridian City, the city of Pokemon Red. Most of the stuff
This is my last cycle.
You should know idea what it is. So, I think there is like a gym here somewhere. I love that. I'm also a straw. Yes! This is the Crybaby gym, right? Right, that's gym 3 of Dota. That's great. Wow, we actually have to check out Zelda. And Zelda has the lot. It's like a lot. There's so many more. Right, so there. So go. Yes! Wow! This is one of the Silpho warps we wanted. This is one of the ones that you just can't access unless you go through. Alright, let's go with straw here. We have another straw into a Pokemon Center. Which one is this? Bio City. Okay, so we got to over Bio City, everyone. Good straw. Okay. I'm not. What? Wait, what? Huh? This is the Olivine. Yeah, okay, this is a different one. What the fuck is happening? For real, let's go here. Okay. Sorry, what? There is only Pokemon Centers. Alright, for real, let's go do this. Oh, Morty is absent. What the hell? Wait, where's Morty? What? I'll write it down. This is Gym 4 of Johto that we found, but we need to find the burnt tower first. Watch it be the next word breaker. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? Nah, it's not. Yes! This is Gym 1 Johto. We found Gym 1 Johto, which means we have found every single gym in Johto. The only thing that's missing right now, in order to beat Gym 4, we need to go to the burnt tower to talk to Morty. And in order to beat Gym 6, we need to find the medicines in the Ampharos for Jasmine. But we can do Gyms 1, 2, and 3 right now. Alright, let's beat Gym 1 of Johto. Gym 1 down, 7 more to go in Johto. Alright, let's go down here. This is the burnt tower, isn't it? Oh, I can use Rock Smash now! Oh my god! I can use Rock Smash now! Because I'm in the first gym in Johto! And then this is the burnt tower, right? Does this mean that Morty is back at the gym? So that means we can beat up to Gym 6 now. Let's just do like 5 gyms.
I don't really need to make anything for them. I'll make a 5-star charisma. For fun.
Cross them off the list. Gym 3 is next. Third gym here. And we're defeated later right knee. Alright, and let's do gym number 4. Let's do it. Look at that. Gym number 40. And we got the fog badge, which then allows us to, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sir. And crossed off. Alright, let's go to gym 5. Go to bottom floor real quick. Sell in the department store, second floor. And on the first floor, right side. Bottom right side. We should in the gym. Oh, it's all making sense. You see the board? It's here. It's all written down. Gym leader 5 has been completed. We are on a roll. We're trying to find the medicine for Jasmine right now. So let's head back to the abandoned ship. There we go. Abandoned ship. Awesome. Rocket hideout. Not in here. Wait. Where? Oh, this is Rocket hideout building in Johto. First gym Owen! Oh my god, out of nowhere! Wow, I'm still looking for the Jasmine stuff. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have defeated the first gym leader of Owen, Roxanne. Wow, look at that. Okay, alright, so we're still waiting for the medicine. Up here, hello, the Lighthouse Pokemon's control, the Sonic News Strip. Oh, we got the medicine! The medicine for Jasmine! Oh my god, yes! You can go on! Mark Jasmine on the list now. Let's go do that. Not a murder. Right here should be what we're looking for. Yes, the lighthouse. And then we can give Jasmine the medicine. So now what we do is actually go back to the Jasmine, the 6th gym leader of Johto. Let's see. We can literally beat everything up until the champion of Johto. Because we've now finally done the last block, which was Jasmine, and now we've got Jasmine. There we go, and Jasmine is gone. But not for that. And then let's go to Bryce. Alright, there we go, and that is gym number 7. And you know what? We don't have to do gym number 8 because we already have a badge. Look at that, we have a full gym badge completion. What are we Elite Four? There it is. Alright, last Pokemon here of Elite Four Will, who will no longer live. Survive. Be able to beat us, then he can jump over. Alright, let's do this more time. And Will has been marked off. Let's get it. Okay, where's Koga? There, guys. Because we're going back to Goldenrod. Everything leads to Goldenrod. There it is. And there is Elite Four Koga completed. Let's go on to beat Bruno next. There we go. That is Elite Four Bruno defeated. And that is the 3rd Elite Four member of Johto. Elite Four Cameron. Alright, watch this. And then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I believe this
is the final battle of the Elite Four. I'd like to talk to her manager. Back to the exploration. We have 2 more regions to go. Alright, let's do Silph Go, guys. Alright, let's do it. We're doing Silph Go. Alright, second floor. Second floor Silph Go. Let's start. Route 41. We can surf now. Oh, well, right. You actually don't have access to 4th floor, right? Yeah. And let's go to 4th floor now. Down. Oh. Now, what's, oh, wait. This is new. Oh my god! Second gym of Hoenn. And there we go! Real fast, really easy. We beat Brawly, the second gym leader of Hoenn. Nice. We can do a lot of Hoenn right now. Let's finish Silph Go first, I think. Okay, we found, Meridian Gym! What? Couple more works here. Yes! And that's Blaine! Oh, we found Gym 7. Gym 7 Kanto. There we go. 7th gym has been found. Alright, what's next? Oh my god! What? This is the 7th gym of Hoenn! We have now found every single gym in Hoenn. Literally everything is in Silph Go. I have been ignoring Silph Go this entire time. And now that we've found every single Hoenn gym leader, every single one, let's start defeating them all. I have salted the board and I know exactly where to go. And we go up to the 3rd floor mansion, which is great, right? And there we go. That is Gym Leader 3, Watson. And then you get Olivine, the Pokemon Center right here should be Flannery. And there we go. We've defeated a leader Flannery. Let's start it out. There we go.
Relaxing days like this are nice.
Let's go talk to Dad.
Let's take it
He's
easy.
in Hoenn in Fall Town. There we go. Let's go face off against Dad. Hey, I just saw my 3 moms. How are you doing, dude? How's it going? We've defeated the Gym Leader Norman, Dad, Father. The moms say hi. All 3 of them. They all say hi collectively. I see them from each dimension and every team. On the leftmost side, it should have the 6th Gym Leader. And that is the 6th gym. Oh, I pressed mark off for Dad.
There is my last one.
Just to me.
Good.
One second. And also, okay, then from the top list, we go to, I believe it is this to Silph Go. Go to the 8th floor, and then here, down to the bottom, this should be Kate and Liza. Nice. And then that's Kate and Liza, 7 gym leaders down. Cross them off. Let's go to the 8th gym, which is 1, it's not Wall. Go into here, and this should be the 8th gym. Nice. There we go. And now we've officially defeated all of the gym leaders in Hoenn. It took like almost 17 hours, but we did it. I'm not going to do the Elite Four or Hoenn until we actually find Glacia. No, basically, we need to beat the champion in Johto, Elite Four, and champion in Hoenn. And then in Kanto, we're just going to find some gyms. Let's go do that. Let's go back to there's one more here, that's why I'm it's like, hopefully it's something good. If not, then I guess we're going to Lilycove. It's late work. Right. Maybe something. Oh, it is something! It is Toga! That's cute! Let's meet! We're gonna meet Toga right now! And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're now on our way to clearing. Oh my god, wait, actually, this is poetic, actually. We have 3 things that we compound. The 6th gym in Kanto, the champion in Johto, and the 3rd Elite Four member in Hoenn. We have 1 thing for each region that we need to find. Let's go do it. Alright, so we've completed all of Rustboro. Obviously, right? You can see. Let's check out all the codes. There's this up here. Yeah. Which could be. Oh, it's Rayquaza. If you wake up Rayquaza, I'm not going to. If you wake up Rayquaza, destroy Skype. You're not going to do it. I didn't mean to walk forward. Well, I might as well catch him now, you know. Okay, never mind. Alright, well, we found Rayquaza. Let's go. I will fly to, what's it, Fortree 3rd House is what I'm talking about. Yes, alright, it's this room. Alright, then this is down in here. We've been here before.
I'm not even paying attention to this. So, fine, let's do this, I guess.
First, get into position like this. Then move like that. Yep, that's it.
Bruh, this luck is absurd. Whoops. Oh!
I am Chiori, the owner of Chioria Boutique. Feel free to find me if you'd like to commission any tailor-made outfits. As for any other requests, it all depends on whether you have enough to offer in exchange. Just the rules of the business. You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. Also, smoking, drinking, and causing a ruckus are all strictly prohibited within the boutique. That whole the customer is king concept doesn't fly here. And even when royalty does come into the shop, if they don't adhere to the rules, they'll find themselves being tossed out and kissing the pavement just like anyone else.
Oh my fucking god, these lines really do go on forever. Well, I won't be able to use her for quite a while. Ah, I have a reason to fight this guy again. Good. More bosses to fight means more chances for me to get instructor pieces. What do we have for her right now? Pretty much nothing. Oops. That's for Geo Traveler. This is good enough, I suppose. Let me go see if I can do the Abyss again. If the Nilou Bloom team still really just isn't enough, I'm just gonna frickin' give up on my 9 stars. I'll just say it's chi over and move on.
every Pokemon game with a traditional battle system, so no Legend Arceus, and found the strongest singles and doubles trainers to have ever faced our main character. In this video, we will be compiling a list for the 9 strongest
Quietly now. Game's up.
double battles of all time. Just the singles and
I see everything.
basically be asked
Temple
what
of
if they brought their team to a smoking that generation and comparing them based on how strong their team is relative to that generation's opponent. And of course, for the doubles NPC, we will be judging their team by the team.
Things are about to get dicey.
We're also
Quietly
going to
now.
ignore their success because let's be honest, a lot of them are bad. They just don't like the overall potential of your team, much like our athletes. People are reviewing a 1 for gen single but a top 5 for doubles. It's because there's a significant disparity between the quality and trainer. But also,
Why? Whatever.
number 1 NPC for both single and double, and also has a flavor. We decided to hold our one-time DLC event. So Raver and Dora, you guys are awesome, but not to count. Alright, let's get right into it. Starting out at number 9, we have our Generation 5 representative. That being Gen 5 Giovanni, specifically the black and white Crown World Tournament. Historically, Giovanni has a explosive Pokemon wide, but despite being a mono-type team, his type expert ground team is very stacked with Gen 5 elite threats, with 3 like Sword, as well as a powerhouse strategy based around Dinosaur, bludgeoning the opponents with offensive Pokemon like right here. Giovanni is clearly an offensive with Gliscor and Hippolyta.
Things are about to get
Honestly,
dicey.
he could get top 3 he feels extra stroke to play in the same version. Clay doesn't have a Sandstorm section, but Giovanni does. This is shows Giovanni as because no other team in the Gen 5 game would do anything in an OU tournament. Looking at you and really playing it, but now Giovanni would be much higher on this list if his team wasn't literally on the ground and could actually cover for his weaknesses, but his team at least has an offensive strategy, and also one of the best OU Pokemon in Gliscor.
Everyone hold hands. Make yourselves at home.
Probably thought you'd see him as our Gen 1
Quietly now.
Gen 7, who has the most solid team out of all the other entities. Now we were debating between Gen 8 and Mighty Arthur, who edged out all of the Mighty Gyarados and Arcanine. Support in the form of Exeggutor and Alakazam, and a really fast lead right now. Any one of Gyarados, Alakazam, or Arcanine, and Mega Pokemon to try to the game or set up a he also clearly has the most list compared to the other trainers we're considering. Definitely more than Gen 5 Pokemon. Definitely without anything but the battle tree. He has access to the 2 strong Pokemon in the form of Mega Pokemon and Tyranitar. Mighty Arthur Gen 7 may have potentially the Uber and Mega Pokemon, but his whole team is not Venusaur or Charizard, demolished by Mighty.
Things are about to get dicey. Busted.
The better balance. Next on our list is Red from Gen 2. Not the final boss we all know about. So, as cool as I think Red as a concept, the original version of Red is for you. It's a far cry from Wild. Besides this guy. This Red, though, from specifically Pokemon Stadium to the team that would cause you nightmares if you only had 10 Pokemon. All of Red's Pokemon can only in Gen 2. It has the arguably number 2 Pokemon in Ryder, and of course, the number 1 Pokemon in Pokemon, and in GS Snorlax. Red continues a pattern of insanely stacked Pokemon supported by a balanced G and team. Now the reason this version of Red is higher on this list, like Snorlax, is because, well, he also has Entei and Dragon.
Let my magic begin.
Which aren't good at all.
In consideration.
Definitely be high. But luckily, next person on this list has a very complete team.
All eyes on me.
On our list, everyone's favorite trainer to be jealous of. Alex has a shiny
Savor the show in
peace. Sapphire.
You're up.
He has Mega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Battle, Sword, Wally.
Alright, apparently I'm doing even worse now somehow.
strictly by ORAS OU standards. He's got the Smokin Bird talent plate, he's got Garchomp, Azumarill, Magnezone to get steel walls like Skarmory, who's
I guess
not
pure
beat.
EM is still the
He's got
best
an
build for
offensive
Nahida.
Spike supporter in Roserade. When you think you've gotten through the hardest part, Mega Gallade can sweep through entire teams and clean up. Wally has the most OU Pokemon so far out of every trainer we have mentioned, and has the most solid offensive strategy displayed up until this moment in the video. A+ for team building. He sure has come a long way from Predator Town. Next on our list is the reason we should really stop messing with AI as a society. We picked AI Sada over AI Toro for one simple reason. It starts with F and ends in Uttermane. Toro has Iron Bundle, sure, but remember who was banned first alongside Houndstone, not even 2 days after Scarlet and Violet launched. Sada has 2 Pokemon that are/were banned from Gen 9 voting. And we've been giving you detailed explanations as to why each trainer has a good team so far. But with Sada, yeah, it's literally just Fluttermane. Next, this thing got banned instantly for a reason. Literally no other reason to use any other offensive Pokemon besides Fluttermane and Palafin. Now, the only thing that can top Fluttermane in terms of power is obviously our Gen 1 representative in one of the most broken generations of all time competitively. Everybody remembers Gen 1, right? Well, you may be thinking we're going to pick Blue or something, or even the unused Professor Oak battle for simply possessing Tauros. But if you are cultured in Gen 1 lore, you would know there is much more evil NPC to battle. And the reason for that is that this one is actually based off of a real-life regional champion who actually competed in one of the first Pokemon tournaments to ever exist. Only available in the Japanese Pokemon Stadium 1, known by the Western community as Pokemon Zero. And also, it's not one-time DLC, because it was actually distributed in Japan. This trainer is one of the 16 trainers you can face in the level 50 to 55 tournament in-game. Every trainer here is based off of the trainers who competed and won their respective regionals in the real-life Nintendo Cup 1997 tournament. And fittingly, the real-life Kanto representative also has what would be the best RBY OU team out of all of them, even by modern standards, with a team of only OU Pokemon and 2 of the big 3 normals on it. In this extremely broken generation, we don't really need to say much, right? Like, this is obviously one of the most powerful teams we've seen on this list so far. Next on our list is our Gen 8 representative. In a generation known for filling stadiums with Pokemon battles and the so-called invincible champion with his mighty Charizard, one trainer reigns above the rest. That's right, it's Crasher Wake. Crasher Wake. Crasher Wake's brilliant diamond shining chrome is a team that could only have been made by Darkrai's Darkest Nightmare Field. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait, by Gen 8 OU standards, Crasher Wake possesses no OU Pokemon. So how is he above all the rest? Well, you see, Crasher Wake is from Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and has an OU that is different from Sword and Shield OU, and it only uses Pokemon from Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, since they could not interact with Gen 8 game for some reason. And in BDSP OU, only 2 days after the game's launch, Drizzle was deemed too powerful for OU, as the smaller pool of Pokemon
This dance is for you.
and Kingdra and others
Things are about to get dicey.
while they outspend everything else.
Don't be scared.
A simpler strategy than sending Politoes and pulling your food
Temple of Wisdom.
force with respond at your opponent. Now I know what you're thinking. Did we Giovanni go for having a monotype team? Yes, we did. But Water as a monotype team is its own beast simply for the weather strategy. The power of Crasher Wake's team does not come from the individual Pokemon, but the constant onslaught that created it. It's lucky that Gen 8 had not
Busted.
if he did, but it even cast number 2.
Quietly now.
I see everything. Share my
For
knowledge.
our number 2 for single, and our yet to be represented. Alright, so I know a lot of you have probably never heard of this trainer in your lives because of happened. As to reach him, you have to clear every other single battle coliseum to unlock the center trainer.
Quietly now. Things are about to get dicey.
I have no idea. This is the first I've heard of coliseum. Well, he's not relevant to the story, and he's just an old man who lives at the top of Mount Battle. Well, here's his team. The only bad Pokemon on his team being He has 4 movers on his team somehow. 2 of them are the laddie twins. Competitive and of course he has Kyogre and Frank Blazer.
Please appreciate my sincerity.
Not many movers survive being caused by the laddie
In consideration.
Also, speaking of high damage, there's Heracross. And in front of I guess even Splatcase might be
Quietly now.
places the right spot.
Game's up. From Silva.
It has the most fan of Splatcase.
Everyone got his. The Temple of
Now
Wisdom.
on to our double. Double battle are a serious thing that
Banquet
very
must go on.
It's better to showcase the strength.
Let my magic begin. Give my
Here has
service.
come a long way from being an unlike skeleton.
The banquet is
Now an unlike skeleton. Side, the strength of his feet is nothing to stop him.
All eyes on me.
He sees Messiah or another annoying money. The offensive Raincore and Polycore and Hurricane
Here comes the
Dragonite. Their team is a force to be reckoned. Even Hydrapple and Spittle beat and Oregon Game
Positions.
evaporates so-called spectrum. Out of all the double battles throughout that includes for it.
I see everything.
Ares is by far the
Pardon me.
most similar to the medicine fighting, and it was preserved being the number 5 trainer.
Banquet must go on.
Next on our list, and I swear we argued with this character here, is of course the long line of Dragon Dance.
Quietly now. Game's up. From Silva.
Kieran may have more solid meta Pokemon.
This team is just performing worse somehow.
Which is why we put him above Kieran. For one, our Shalodon and King. Our Shalodon and Kingdra is already a better ring for than Polytone and Dragonite, since both of them have way more benefits to being in the ring. But also, Drayton has his own Dragonite that can summon Tailwind, and does the good old strategy of Levitate/Flying Type plus Earthquake Stand, which can rip entire teams to shreds. Now, if Drayton entered a BGC tournament, I doubt he'd actually bring Sceptile, but the Dragon Cheer strategy that Drayton actually uses to battle you, we think is a little bit more reliable than Fickle Beam or Adaptability Porygon Speed. Sceptile's high speed at least gives it a boost other than just hitting the opponent really hard with Beam. Speaking of reliable strategies, what you're about to see for the person above Drayton is, well, let's just get to it. Alright, just like Infant, you may ask, who is this? Well, this is the man. I know we've been ignoring the actual in-game boost sets this whole time, but hear us out. This trader has one of the most demonic double battle strategies relative to their in-game mechanics. Codel's team consists of Dusclops, Electrode, Regirock, Registeel, Regice, and Golem. Now wait, you say, those Pokemon are terrible. How is he above Drayton and Kieran, even relative to Gen 3? Well, you see, every single one of those Pokemon except for Dusclops has an explosion in a generation where it halves your defense. Furthermore, this is also in a generation where if your Pokemon dies in a double battle, the next Pokemon comes in during the same turn, meaning Explosion could potentially 4-for-2 your opponent's team. But playing around Explosion is easy enough, right? All you have to do is protect. Well, Codel is one step ahead of you. His Dusclops is not only immune to Explosion, but has Protect and Imprison, meaning there is no viable defense outside of having a Ghost type to stop him from just blowing stuff up. And for the Ghost types that do exist in this gen, which are limited to Gengar, Mischievous, Bennett, and Dusclops, Registeel and Regis wall all of these Pokemon, with Regis having good enough special attack to take these Pokemon out. And the sheer evilness of the items picked for each individual Pokemon, like Quick Claw Golem and Bright Powder Registeel, he's just going to make sure he's unkillable until he wants to turn the battle into a Michael Bay movie. Now, is this team really that good? Maybe, maybe not. But the sheer amount of chat and energy it exudes is enough to put Codel over the BB League boys on this list. Alright, so you may think you know who the strongest trainer is after looking at Codel's profile, clearly. But what if we told you there were 2 others better than him, and one of them is from the same game? That's right, Infant's twin brother, Inity, another old man who lives at the top of Mount Battle, is our number 2 for the strongest double battle NPCs of all time. Inity, however, somehow has an even better team than his own brother. He has both Groudon and Kyogre, both Latios twins, which already come with Soul Food in-game. And he may not have Rayquaza, but he's got Salamence, which has Intimidate. And of course, the Infinity Brother Special, Choice Band Hyper Beam Slash, which becomes scarier in a double battle context, where you're dealing with Kaijus at the same time. Obviously, we put this trainer above the rest because he has restricted Pokemon in the game with the broken turn mechanics we mentioned earlier, of switching in during the same turn, which means if Kyogre manages to surf and kill 2 Pokemon, then his Groudon or Salamence or even Slacking or whatever can just kill the next Pokemon that switch in on the same turn. We don't really need to say much more, do we? That's why Entity is number 2 on this list. Wait, 2? Right, we've never actually said the number 1 of singles battles, and we're about to get to the number 1 of doubles as well. Who could possibly be above these clearly intentionally broken trainers that were only made to be an infuriating challenge for your adventure team? Well, there is one NPC who stands above all the rest. I mean, we all saw this coming, right? The strongest champion of all time, who was heavily implied to beat Tobias, the guy with the Darkrai and the Latios in the anime. That's right, she is not number 1 or even on this list. Sorry, I love Cynthia too, but she simply didn't meet the cut, even with a somewhat solid team of Garchomp and friends. Or more accurately, would have been the 4th Gen representative had this next broken character not existed in Gen 4 as well. The tier of power you're about to witness is in a league of its own. Above every NPC trainer, likely every trainer coming in at number 1, both singles and doubles. And again, by half. That, before you see, the spin-off games can be quite challenging. Serial is the final trainer based in Pokemon that were ever used. After you have completed every single policy in the game, and then also face 32 battles of getting to this monster. Then, depending on the cartridge you pick, challenged by Mysterio. His team is the exact same for singles and double battle mode, and for this list, we're going with the Diamond version, because the Pearl version has Cherry. Though Shota Yamamoto is without
Game's up.
let's go face Mysterio and keep control of the championship. Maybe one could say that seen in a Gen 4 contest. First of all, he's already capable of bringing Manaphy, a mythical Pokemon, and the most insane rain of feature in the year technical well with his Kyogre. In 2010, because you can have up to 4 Pokemon for only brings to the battle. Mysterio does not care about that clearly, and also he controls you. And obviously in the singles context, we have a full Uber Steam, which clearly puts him above even Infant and the Go Fracture Wing, as he merges both of their strategies of Demonic Rain and them into an NPC abomination that nobody would willingly face for fun. Mysterio would get disqualified from a VGC competition for yesterday, saving our hypothetical.
Animal hypostasis emulation. Absorption test.
Thanks for
Animal
watching,
test
everyone.
6308. Stand clear.
Got him! Forward! Next way!
And in the comments, I want to know, what do you think about our list? If we pick the best NPC for competitive play. I know this video is kind of out there, but we really have a lot of fun making it. Leave a comment, let us know what you think, all that stuff. And thank you so much for making
Quietly now. Here comes the catch.
Thank you to everyone else watching this stuff.
Seize the skies!
Enhanced animal modules.
And thank you so much to our platinum.
Absorption
Thank you so
test.
much to Raven Diesel, Zorosan,
Animal test
Roxanne,
6308.
Grace Mullen, Maple Kid, Favorite, Daniel Nissen, and Richardson, support of our mission. And follow my currently
Things are about to get dicey.
That's all I got. See you next time.
Swirl, mark.
Forward toward you. Make way for the a grand surprise.
Higher, higher, hands on fire. Absorption test.
Busted. Quietly now. Got her! Seize the skies! Here comes the catch.
Animal test 6308. Apologies.
Let my magic begin. Did I scare you?
Absorption test. Please
Hold for just a moment. Gotcha. Yeah, got him. Flyer in consideration. Make way for the adept.
Enhanced animal module.
Take it easy. Bust it. Enjoy. Game's up. Fun's over. Did I scare you?
Stand clear. Absorption test. Stand clear.
Yeah, got her. Banquet must go on. Quietly now. Gotcha. The banquet is...
Alright. Since there's a crits thing, maybe Farina will be fine. And Hu Tao and stuff will actually be enough. Let's see.
Things are about to get dicey.
Let my name echo in song.
Seize the skies. Quietly now. Game's up. Fun's over. Gotcha.
Time to shine.
Yeah, got him. Yeah. The banquet is here. Things are about to get dicey.
Get copies of Balan Wonderworld, and for that, I'm forever thankful. But owning things is such a hassle. Like, I gotta buy food for this, gotta water it daily, putting it through college is gonna bankrupt. Only somebody would take it away from me. Delistings are getting worse and worse every day, isn't that good news? The move to fully digital games with no physical components like a disc, they own a very small amount of the actual game that you buy. Transformers Devastation is gone, sure, but with the 4 deadliest letters in game collection today, they get to do sick nasty dinosaur suplex combos all the live long day. But a game like Evolve, the programmatic inventory games, those either exist only as digital games or rely on operational online servers that just don't exist anymore. The further we go in the direction of games that rely so heavily on the internet for either storage or basic functions, the closer we move to a point where games might be impossible to preserve in their full state. We've seen that plenty recently thanks to a particular type of game. And not so much a genre, but a philosophy that has worn out its welcome quicker than any other. Games as a service. Games as a service are an idea created in the
depths of hell by Satan to trick people into getting multiple jobs that don't pay them. Then there are leeches on both your time and
Showing you praise! Let my name echo in some...
Game's up. Time's over.
if I see a game tell me it has a battle pass, I bet like
Make way for the...
Higher, higher, hands on fire!
Gotcha. Here comes the catch.
Let the world collide!
Got it! Seize the skies!
Despite some almost heavy Where's the
These are about to get sent.
Prior in consideration. Time to shine!
Yeah! Got him! Skyward! Stray cloud confirmed!
These games don't just make a lot of money to earn it, and if they can't make that much
Here comes the catch!
Strike a pose!
Skyward! Got him!
Where's your...
Surprise! Things are about to get dicey.
Let my name echo in song!
Let's go! Skyward! Make way for the...
Like too much money, do you really? And guys, we haven't even taken harmonics out of the packaging yet. They not only make Fortnite,
Your friend Finale!
and knock out City Turn.
Going in!
This was said to be the first battle royale game to be
Coming at you! This one's got your name on it! Fire!
Well, if they fail
Nice
to
and
catch
spicy.
audience,
And step.
then there's no way to offset the
Break a
cost.
leg! Let's light it up!
If the old 6-month shuffle,
Everybody stand back! You're in toast!
But it's not fine.
Get them! Coming at you!
About to fighting here at Madagascar.
Watch out!
And that's exactly what we're focusing on. It's less successful than an entire
Hey, you're getting shot smoother now.
Light it up!
60 FPS.
There!
Unlike your old laptop.
No. It could run on 60 FPS, but it fucking catches on fire eventually.
Oh. You just don't want that, I think.
Installment in Gearbox's Brothers in Arms series. This was a series of tactical shooters that managed to scratch a very particular itch for squad-based tactical shooters that got Gearbox on the map. With this turning into Battleborn seems impossible. The connective tissue on their
Quiet now. Busted. Here comes the catch.
Furious 4.
Time to shine!
Skyward!
Furious 4.
Stray cloud confirmed!
What should have been a follow-up to Hell's Highway was instead a new soldier across Eastern Europe to go kill Hitler. Now,
Time to go!
changes video velocity to be
Gotcha! Game's up! Fun's over! Busted!
Let my name echo in song!
Gearbox has released
Make way for the... Gotcha! Things are about to get dicey. Quiet now.
Showing you things! Let the world come on!
Got her! Skyward! Stray cloud confirmed! Gotcha! Game's up! Fun's over!
Strike a pose!
Make way for the...
Things are about to get dicey.
Oh, remember?
Stop and later on, reemerge as a whole new property. So, what type of game is Battleborn? So, Battleborn was revealed by Game Informer magazine and was later on
Busted.
first cast of characters.
Game's up. Fun's over. Gotcha.
Let the world collide!
Skyward! Got him! Stray clouds converge!
Busted.
Well, obviously, Battleborn is happy.
Yeah! Skyward! Seize the skies!
Things are about to get dicey.
Let my name echo in song!
Quietly now.
Do not care. So much.
God's
Right
over!
after this car accident. So I want to start with how the definition of Battleborn has to use Battleborn.
Game's up.
So the
Fun's
more
over.
we can salvage from this
Time to shine!
sports and battle.
Make way for the...
Associate hero-based shooter that the character has very power set in situation. Because that sounds an awful lot like a game that should battle. In truth, Battleborn was the first
Gotcha. Here comes the
online battle game.
Busted.
Let the world collide!
Stray clouds converge!
Gotcha. Game's up. Fun's over.
Strike a pose! Let my name echo in
Make way for the...
Though this just serves to confuse people as to what sort of game Battleborn even was. It had the co-op campaign mode.
Hey there! Attack!
Teamwork is dreamwork!
Eat this! Nice and spicy! Your grand finale! Unleash! I'm coming at ya! Fire! Well,
Observe!
And that grasp of sin just
going in! Unleash! Strike is one! Hey there! Haha! Coming at ya! Nah, fire! Well, with rocks.
direct comparison. Comparing these two, though, is like comparing apples.
Nice and spicy!
Shoot! Can't afford any more bandages! Everybody...
There are fundamental differences
Unleash!
between comparing these
Your
games.
grand finale! You're toast!
First, yeah.
Hey there!
Rather different characters.
Haha! Chat, watch out!
Something like
Observe! Out of the frying pan!
Let's light it up!
would you reasonably compare these two games and say that they're competition for each other? Of course not. They were catering to completely different markets. Problem there. And the MOBA market didn't really know what was being catered to because nobody understood what Battleborn was.
Busted.
Battleborn was still
Here
at
comes the
that
catch.
with it being announced first.
Show him your face!
Call Battleborn every time a MOBA.
Seize the skies! Scatter!
Let
the world collide!
Well, it worked, and the general public didn't think the game was going to be a MOBA anymore. Instead, they thought it was a hero shooter like Overwatch. But by forcing themselves out of their own niche and Overwatch, Battleborn earned its reputation as a mystery.
Things are about to get
That
dicey.
reputation was held by Apple, calling out Overwatch and further tying these two games together in recent times. You know it's a great ride.
Stray clouds converge!
On the attack and the other side doesn't realize the rental rivalry. Look, first Spencer Martin Codes wasn't the only thing that made the whole thing Battleborn the breakdown of Overwatch. The basic is still remains. This
Here comes
public
the
image of Battleborn versus
Show him your
Overwatch was
face! Let the world collide!
terrifying
Scatter!
taking on
Skyward!
in an interview with
Seize the skies!
Randy Pitchford described the show as nearby Gearbox when Overwatch was announced and we were scared. Absolutely. Because we noticed really quickly that, holy crap, the launch dates are gonna step on top of each other. Remember when Blizzard announced Overwatch, we were already saying it before announced.
Things are about to get dicey.
You know,
This is trouble.
Can't overcome it. There's nothing we could do to them. The worst part of the fight. So we took the attitude of, look, it's not a fight, man. Let's just focus on our goals and make the game that's fun and the game we want to make, and trust it'll work. How Randy discusses the lead up to the game's release in these quotes and how it was actually handled, though, are completely at odds. Internally not wanting to pick a fight they couldn't win, but externally trying to bring as much attention to the comparison as possible. There was no need to be so cryptic and vague with what Battleborn was. If it was made clear from the outset that this was a first-person MOBA,
Here comes the
competition.
Strike Cloud confirmed.
And down it went. Successful beta brought over 2 million players. It was now a successful launch on May 6, 2016.
Quietly now. Game's up. Fun is over. Busted. Make way for the...
Gearbox. For free. And when Overwatch was finally their release, it replaced their cheaper. Then, just a taste of Overwatch was enough to completely overshadow Battle. Those problems with understanding the game also extended to when people got their hands on it. Running the game generally mixed reviews, averaging at a 69 on Metacritic. Somewhere, Randy Pitchford was bouncing up and down in his chair and giggling at that.
Quietly now. Here comes the cat. Which must go on.
In that case, unfortunately, because that's what it was.
Let the world collide!
Early on in Phase 2, and in fact, days after launch, and they hit it on
Make way
$40
for
off the
the...
price tag. But again, Overwatch. What it means. My August of that year, player count on
Busted.
Steam
Things are about to get dicey. Gotcha.
everything's
Let my name echo in song! Skyward!
Well, that could hurt a lot of short-term, long-term, and the success. The exact same
Quietly now.
Team Fortress 2. Before free-to-play meant that longevity was
Apologies.
by goal.
Stop that!
Now, instead of dedicating
My
40
disgrace.
months, you were only dedicating 40 minutes. They may not make back the initial investment, but down the road, people could end up spending more on in-game purchases than they would have for the game at launch.
Strike is one!
And if that went through, Smith would not be
Going in!
fine. Let Randy Pitchford heard these rumors and took the time to poke his head out of the groundhog hole with it to say, I was just told about a record about
Proper send-off! From the Spino, nice and spicy, your grand finale, and step.
A single-minute bedtime.
Teamwork is dreamwork! Coming at ya!
Trial. And urged the race over to wasn't going to reach, but much reach shot, which isn't as bad as people still even further. You can't enter private matches,
Flags up,
you can't play story missions, and you only have a limited amount of characters to play that can be out every couple of days. Oh, like a well, what was Randy himself doing to fix the problem? Or, mostly, Randy tweeted out the link to a
Let's light it up!
He just found it by accident when he was looking at Battleborn. This was a subreddit containing, let's say, lascivious imagery of the Battleborn cast, or at least it would have. It would have, if the creator had put any moderation in place. Instead, the kingdom was toppled in, like, 20 minutes. Imagine being the art director at Gearbox who had to work with a ton of talented people to make a super diverse and distinct cast of characters. And then your boss came in and said, hey, I
Here comes the catch.
This right here.
Let the world collide!
There is no coming back from
Strike cloud converge.
No one can take the game seriously. And if you remember anything about Battleborn inside of this, or that, a year after the free trial was introduced, the game would get its final content update, with it being announced later that Battleborn was on its farewell tour, culminating in 2021. By 2020, the player count was down to about 20.
Let my name echo in song!
Skyward! Seize the
Battleborn
skies!
now simply doesn't exist. There were no more private servers, no active communities. Gearbox simply flipped a big switch in their office and shut Battleborn down completely. All those gameplay mechanics, environments, apparently unprovable characters just lost forever.
Time to shine!
Serves that, but it's a pattern that isn't just
Strike cloud converge!
it's becoming more. How did Randy Pitchford take the game's failures? Battleborn came before Overwatch, but who cares? Play what you like. That's
Time to go!
Overwatch stole
Quietly now.
Battleborn.
Here comes the catch.
Came first. The reality is
Strike a pose!
I think Battleborn
Scatter! Skyward! Seize the skies!
Let the world collide!
Now, a swing defense like Battleborn is understandable. Nobody bats 1,000, so if this in between some extremely successful games and it killed the company or anything, what about all the games ever made?
Make way for the...
Let my name echo in song!
Well, that's the story of the boss. The game's studio made up of two of the most important FPSs, Ariane Brucey, and, more importantly, Clint Bleszinski. Or, as Wikipedia insists, people have called him Dude Huge. Well, Ariane certainly has his own extensive advances.
Gotcha. Game's up. From Silva.
Quietly. So much more to talk about.
Seize the
Varsky
skies!
ended up with
Time to shine!
Huge got started at in 1992. By 2016, founders of Video Games volunteered to train guys started Epic and created the Unreal Edge.
Gotcha.
After
These are
his
about to
doctor
get
recommended
dicey.
he had more jazz
Quietly now.
time, he'd go on to make
Let my name echo in song!
one of the most popular series
Make
of
way
race
for the-
shooters ever made. That popularity thrust the lead designer, Dude Huge, into the industry limelight. He'd have heaps and heaps of praise thrown onto him, and even make the cover of PC Gaming as one of the new gods
Here
of
comes the
gaming.
catch.
Cool people never say well, you're the god of
Let the
gaming.
world
Dude Huge,
collide!
however, soaked up that praise like a sponge and developed a
Seize the
reputation of
skies.
spears and himself. When you start researching Dude Huge, you're eventually going to find articles and interviews calling him the bad boy of the gaming industry. He's a rebel and sometimes not afraid to speak his
These are
mind.
about to get
Okay,
dicey.
Bad Boy is a title that gets more and more embarrassing.
Showing you a trick!
If you're 13 and called a bad boy, you run into a water hole. If you're 31 and called a bad boy, how? Very good.
Busted.
Regardless,
Quietly now.
gain a reputation for speaking his mind on issues such as game racing,
Let my
DLC
name
practices,
echo in
and
song!
combined between school and shooting.
Riveted.
And so, bridge that gap
Make way for the...
the war series. One of the crown jewels of the Xbox 360 generation. And doesn't live up to the expectations set by the gun that's also a chainsaw. If this was stuck in a crappy game, I would have been never. It's lost somewhat in an era where people use grand ground shooters as a shorthand for bad.
One more try.
Gears of War was a genre-defining experience. It used Madball and had
Strike cloud converge! Skyward!
times though
Here comes the
were
catch.
collapsed that in 2012, major shifts had occurred in video games. After seeing that games as a service were becoming more and more feasible thanks to games like Fear Legend, games sold 40% of their stock values for $130 million.
Gotcha.
The company
These are
found
about
out
to
how
get
to make
dicey.
models so successful
Showing you a praise! Let the world collide!
Skyward! Make way for the...
Epic Games rarely get combination of gamers feeling jaded, as well as working with some very talented people who are also very jaded. The most amazing thing is when I was again, they'd be like, now I'm going to slag anymore.
Seize the skies!
This led to Duke's decision to quit retire from the gaming industry. Retire. Just a year later, though, and the bug had hit him again. Back in the saddle. Conspirator Arya proceeded to form boss and it wasn't long before the two announced their next game. And yes, harken back to the old days of arena shooters. While the idea of going back to the past to try to revive arena shooters wasn't a bad one, he has to recognize the last majorly successful arena shooter was Unreal Tournament 3 in 2007. And Dude himself hasn't worked on one since 2004. The industry largely moved away from frenetic arena shooters and more into the team-based tactical shooters like Call of Duty. Although
Make way for the
was one of the people popularized the genre
Here comes the catch.
the free market came with the industry announcements like next year as sci-fi arena shooter that would launch as free-to-play. Despite its reservations on the idea, it was still a way to balance the game, so people who had money
Things are about to get dicey.
Show him your face! Let the world come!
Skyward! Seize the skies!
Get a name change to love, but a philosophy change as well. Our tough to play? Nah, it just became one of the 2 years later, it's like they couldn't find a way to handle the free-to-play model without both of the advantage aspects finding the idea of paying a lump sum for a game more fair.
Time to shine!
Explanation. The unreasonable part was just how
Make way for the
God's over!
This was one of the earliest moves that put lawbreakers in limelight. It's all about scams for live payments.
Things are about to get dicey.
Way to get everybody really defensive about it.
Let the world come!
Telling them they were biased to reinforce their decision. Especially if the
Stray clouds
competition launched the game. You can't have it to watch. If Overwatch releases more lawbreakers in 2016, though it was only $10 more, they found that this was a $60 game.
Game's up.
This wasn't the only shot
Let my name echo!
PG shooter compared to lawbreakers, and that
Seize the skies!
was the darkest.
Higher, higher, dance on fire!
Gotcha. Here comes the catch.
Time to shine! How dare you!
Skyward! Stray clouds converge!
Ones that I find aspirational. The fact that, Overwatch and Street Fighter weren't Mortal Kombat. Overwatch feels like it's kind of skewed, towards a kind of an anime fan type vibe, right?
It made very Dark Souls of the shooters. That's a claim. He didn't laugh afterwards. Dude clearly wanted this game to call back not just to an earlier era of arena shooters, but to an earlier era of shooter aesthetics, where something like Overwatch would have been considered too cutie and colorful for the hardcore market. That hardcore market was exactly the
Let my name echo in song!
Quietly now. Things are about to get dicey. Busted.
Make way for the attack!
Time to go!
Gotcha. Here comes the catch. Busted.
Strike a pose! Time to shine!
Skyward! Seize the skies! You need it last.
Things are about to get dicey.
A grand surprise! Skyward! Scatter!
Based shooter.
Make way for the attack! Things must go up. Gotcha!
In the same way the Battleborn tried to
Here comes the count.
Oh,
Let my name echo in song. Strike us up.
Skyward!
just like the Battleborn.
Riveted! Seize the skies!
Is it a like Tooted Six? Or is it a hero shooter
My
like
magic
Diamond
descent!
Another infinite share
A gift
Battleborn
for you.
player. Average player count hovered around
Gotcha.
800. And major flashbacks
Skyward! Scatter!
things only got worse with the next beta in July when the player count now maxed out around 5,000.
Forgive my distress!
And the beta counts dipped to triple digits. And with only users know before the game dropped, there was no time to fix any of the issues.
Well, a lot of
Skyward!
state publishers, they do these kind of bullshit marketing betas. And they're like, oh, it's our beta. The game's out next week.
The
I'm
show
like, it's
begins.
not really, it's not good.
These eventual releases would make for a great study for should return.
Skyward! The banquet is nearing its
Lawbreaker was the peak player count only reached 1,000.
busted.
Well, to put it in perspective, we haven't even able to rank the top 100 games on its release window. Battleborn! Big release. And Lawbreakers didn't. But Steam wasn't the only place the game was going to be released, as the game would not just get a home console release on the PlayStation 4, but on Dude's old stomping grounds of the Xbox. What I meant to say was just was made to
Everybody stand back.
on the PlayStation 4 and not the Xbox One. Here's the word. And the most people
Break a
excited
leg.
was
Hey there. Attack!
come off as an apple bubble.
Observe. Get them.
PS4.
Going in.
Again,
Strike is one.
Sounds
Watch out.
which meant that you could be using your mouse
Let's light it up.
for your console. Wasn't gonna run
Observe.
smooth.
Watch out.
Catch a break no matter what. And in 2018, the game would already enter its farewell stage, going free to play in April and announcing its shutdown in September. The game barely lasted a year, and if you weren't staying hydrated, you would have sworn it was a mirage. A game that usually takes someone a while to recover.
Things are about to get dicey. Quietly.
Skyward!
Bounce back.
Make way for the...
Time to go.
By Boston, Fortnite as all games and player like Battleground.
Gotcha. Here comes the catch.
It's weird to see a game with so much of its own style,
Let my
so
name
much
echo in
inherent at the
song.
same time, because this flat match actually was
Stray cloud converge.
stretches as Fortnite was held together. And it was! Games and priorities and
Higher, hands by fire.
passion button for the Velocity team. Somehow, we still have
Things are about to get dicey.
lawbreakers. But if you look into the time frames, you see that
Skyward!
start development in 2000.
Make way for the...
That coincides with
Busted.
Time to shine.
did it for the long haul. Lawbreakers. The game press is just more
Time to go.
Here comes the catch.
As far as I'm concerned, they can't.
Skyward!
We're gonna keep making our games.
Seize the skies.
Everyone
Let the world collide.
Since we don't have enough players yet, we have a small with on a regular basis. It's fine if you want to leave it in the past.
Game's up. Fun's over.
Gotcha. Game's here to stay. You've already
Let
covered
my
your
name echo in
They weren't
song.
anything the last time they tried this, and now they were too busy. The game did
Make
the
way for
they
the...
lawbreakers by releasing in the middle of a gold rush of higher quality games. First was it the teen shooter called Overwatch, and then was it the tighter kind of battle royales in a post-Fortnite landscape. It was going to be a hard sell for anything outside of the big two, and Radical Heights, a buggy, glitchy, ugly, messy, that a smart word does hands. When you are working like this, you're not just trying
Seize the skies!
to play your game. You're also discovering drop the others you're already playing. And it's not important. Not by a long shot. And that is no Fractal Heights had a founder.
Gotcha! Game's up! Fun's over!
In currency,
Time to shine!
instead of free. So when push came to shove, it was okay.
Make way for the adept!
Only when your company was already on death's door. The one with a bunch of lawbreakers into Rathnell Heights sent bosses down to the match. Tell Mel the same. The company was completely current and would end up closing before Rathnell Heights never
Things
got
are
out
about to
of
get
the
dicey.
Strike a pose!
abusive
Forward! Got her!
Wait, bitterly texting Microsoft about how they're looking like the person to settle down rather than like his own dragon game. He said that lawbreakers failed to too. So, next Steve, if you could work in the gaming industry for well over 20 years and still have no idea what to do. Besides that, he's retired from gaming.
Got her! Seize the skies!
Some employees 2 days ago. They're trying out to bank the insurance. On top of that, you also messed up. Why?
Quiet now. Busted! Game's up! Fun's over!
Let the world collide!
When the rest of the fact that he was
Got her! Skyward! Make way for the...
The right way to think you did the right thing was to, you did the right thing. Now it's easy to be used to enjoy
Gotcha! Things are about to get dicey.
Time to shine!
It's always to be seen the dude who lost his studio after all the things he
Strike
said.
cloud converged!
Another fact, 60 or so other people worked at Boston. All the developer closings going around, I'm not going to start celebrating but out of business because one guy that said some dumb stuff doesn't get as much money as he used to. No, it sucks that a bunch of people lost their jobs, and it all comes down to poor management. If Boston had tried anything else, making smaller games, getting out the massive flood of overage, and instead, it would have gone better. There could have been room in the market for operators and not Rathnell Heights. As it is, though, there's no way these people were ever going to get the shine when shadowed by their competitors. Speaking of what so, this was supposed to be for
About to
Overwatch.
get dicey.
I think you can still play Overwatch 1 against Overwatch 2. But there are some actual differences between the two, as far as that you see. So the original Overwatch is gone, but two things are keeping me from going into it. One is how the story about what's going wrong with this game is changing daily. It used to be simple. Blizzard shoving a monetization model into a game and putting it to sequel. Classic broad behavior. Then we launched the game with pretty much none of the features that they wanted. They started fixing dates to add new characters, resulting in battle passes having the price at the end, features that were promised at launch and were getting added in, only different than what was promised and cost additional money. The Overwatch competitive league ate up all their attention and lets the game getting balance patches only for competitive and leaving characters like, you know, the league mascot. That ended up getting shut down after posting comparisons with low viewership numbers and losing their commission. They had a feeder system for the Overwatch League. Isn't that just playing Overwatch? I had to give them my phone number? Oh, yeah, right.
Skyward! Got her!
I don't think we will understand.
Quietly now.
What? Character?
Strike cloud converged! Skyward! Things are about to get dicey.
Fire, pants on fire!
Good thing like that, this game is the world's coolest racist, but other than that, not much positive to report. Second reason, though, why don't I want to discuss Overwatch? There's a game I find more interesting than it is technically dead. More noteworthy
Teamwork is dreamwork!
This guy Dennis Disco.
Your grand finale and stuff.
This is cheating.
Haha,
You cheat people out of money, so you invent. All that works is just heavy, platform fighter show. Smash Ultimate officially ending out in 26th and everyone started full-on pump rush to try to take the throne, and in that pump rush, we've seen countless all over themselves in an attempt to rivals of Aether had the best chance to capture a competitive scene and smash them up behind.
Teamwork is
Teamwork!
Strike is one.
The most invigorating bad fighting game title of the year.
Hey there!
Nicktoons All-Star Brawl is a valiant effort made by people who clearly love both genre and powers they're working on, but they're also clearly on budget and game
Break a leg!
Sphere Brawl and combos all have a shot at killing these bugs rivals have, but compared to the multiverses, they're fighting bazookas with water missiles. So what is Multiverses, and why did it seem set to win the race for Smash's spot before vanishing into thin air? Well, this was a game developed by Player First Games and published by Warner Bros. And would be to them what Smash was to Nintendo and eventually video games as a whole. After years of acquisitions and building their own library,
even crit isn't enough.
Thousands of characters in their possession. So, short of Disney, it made the most sense for them to enter a race like this. Hearing the idea of Disney getting involved in a fighting game, though, makes me break out into a full sweat. So it would be a game just like any other platform, right? Flashy sumo matches between the Edmonton Oilers and the property owners, right? Well, the game sought to set itself apart from the pack by fundamentally changing the whole structure, ditching one-on-one fights in favor of 2v2. That it allowed them to build the game around a few central classes, like assassins, mages, warriors, and something that would have never worked in a one-on-one fighter, support classes. Bugs Bunny. Hey, it's actually a really good idea. If you're entering a crowded market like this, making yourself as distinct as possible is a smart move, and it makes you not just another platform. The other thing making it so distinct is a back roster. Now, of course it was going to be stacked to the gills. At the minimum, you have all of Hanna-Barbera and DC to work with. And that's before you start including any standalone movies, cartoons, or series. Batman, Superman, Bugs Bunny, Steven Universe, Darn It, Arya Stark, the Iron Giant, whatever the hell that thing is, Shaggy. And this was just the base roster. With content updates, we'd get LeBron James, Marvin the Martian, Stripe, Black Adam, because all just love Black Adam so much. These aren't just skin-deep additions either. Each player had a lovingly crafted moveset that paid homage to their entire history. LeBron James basing his entire moveset around keeping a hold of the basketball, Marvin the Martian planting flags to give himself and his partner possible range, Velma making the screen go a little blurry when she drops her glasses. It made Shaggy all over, really. Yeah, we're busting out references to individual Tom and Jerry shorts, but Shaggy gets based around a meme from 2017. The game looks really promising, and since it was free to play, there was nothing really at stake. Download it, see if it was for you, and go from there. If people did that. Multiverses currently holds the record for the most concurrent players for a fighting team's history. 140,000 people playing at the same time. For a fighting game, those numbers are insane. People were really enjoying a new take on the genre. Characters were distinctive and fresh compared to other platform fighters where it was pretty easy to say one character was analogous for the other. It was fast and fun while still making the 2v2 concept work. From the start, though, there were still signs of trouble. It was mostly down to how nobody knew how long this was going to last. Now, I mean that twofold, but the first reason that I say that is because Multiverses was technically never released. It was always just an open beta. The game wasn't officially out yet. Instead, it was just a way that people could get to know the game before its big official release somewhere down the line. What was odd was how open betas usually have a pretty hard cap on when they're going to be done, running for around a week or two before closing up shop and getting back to work. Multiverses was very vague with how this schedule was going to work, never outright saying when the game was going to go away for retooling, and that kind of left it as a sword dangling over its head. As more and more time passed with less and less content updates, the people would ask, is the game out now? Is this it? And there really wasn't an answer. It wasn't early access, that was for sure, but it wasn't really treated like an open beta anymore. That's because of the pricing. Now, a free game having microtransactions is to be expected. But Warner Brothers has to make money somehow. They need to keep funding bankruptcies. But this is a beta. At least I think it is. It was more than just a little suspect that we were paying for cosmetics and battle passes in a game that technically wasn't even finished yet. But the way that the content was being released for it, you'd swear it was. Seasons. That's how the game chose to categorize its content out, but that immediately made things weirder. Wait, so the beta has seasons? The game kept getting more and more content like it was a full release now in its live service phase, and slowly the tag of this being an open beta started to drop off. This only led to more people asking,
Rain Cutter, blow my sword! Rain outlines you! Gotcha! Busted! Here comes the catch! Skyward! Seize the skies!
competitive online matches is casual audience play with the offline option. Primarily at the arcade. For that, multiverses was really huge.
Let me weave you a verse.
It wasn't even a standard feature when the beta opened, and you
Things are about to get dicey. Strike Cloud confirmed!
Arcade endings, character-specific paths, final boss were all missing, and first didn't something like a new costume or a sticker.
Witness power, Kuwa! Know my sword!
Almost drove away as many players.
Here comes the echoes you!
Alright, let's bring on to ourselves for 2. Are the 144,000 people who found this game hardcore Smash enthusiasts?
Quietly now.
Now, these were people like me who see Bugs Bunny and start clapping. Multiverse's biggest strength was also its biggest weakness. It was a spectacle. The average person sees this trailer and they're not thinking about team compositions, if there'll be wave dashing, the monetization model, or content rollout. They're thinking, holy crap, Iron Giant and Superman, sign me up! Holy moly, it's Ultra Instinct Shaggy! I've got to try this out! Game of Thrones. It's going on tour! This was gonna attract people no matter what. It's a headline grabber. It's gonna lure in the casual fan and make a hardcore one out of every, let's say, 1,000 of them. So that original projected number is nowhere near the amount of people that would live to see a second battle pass. Same thing happened with Pal World, the only crossover bigger than multiverses. What strange? Think of it.
Let me read you a verse. Know my sword! Seize the skies!
Just as fast as multiverses started to fall again. Update after update came.
Rain Cutter! Headlining, echoing sound! Rain outlines your fate. Skyward! Strike Cloud confirmed!
Down to a meager 1,000 players. Goes to show you the graphics don't sell any like compared to now again, that 144,000 is
Witness the power of time to sound! Rain outlines your fate. Know my sword! Scatter! Skyward! Make way for the
resistance. One of the key shirts are always going to say escape
must go on. Higher, higher, dance on fire! Let me weave you a verse.
The ultimate decision
Let the world outlines your fate. Skyward!
not for the fact that we treated
Strike Cloud confirmed!
for so long. I've invested time and more importantly, money into the game. Costumes, events, stickers, loads of stuff that I shelled out money for.
Strike a pose! Now I can't know my sword! Witness the power of Kuwa!
because of an arbitrary decision.
Magic Skyward!
Now, laying the blame
Make
of
way for
players'
the...
first games would be sweet. There's no way they
Please hold for just a moment.
start the beta and certain
that's
it closes.
probably not good.
Brothers is greedy and short-sighted enough to see the inflated player numbers and all news articles and things. Troubleshooters game.
Teamwork is dreamwork.
There is exactly
Strike is one.
zero doubt in my mind. Warner Brothers is ultimately responsible for the lack of communication regarding any status.
Hey there.
Well, the developers have not
I must do my duty. Observe.
Nice and that world is completely finished.
Go in.
Don't count out.
Break a leg. And step.
As of March, there's don't know what about a relaunch. What I
And step.
does come back. Most people aren't even going to know it went away.
Watch out.
Well, so long, you have their toys taken away from them.
Let's light it up.
We found
Watch
someone
out.
else with those necks and aren't too eager to come back from something that's burned up so badly. The multiverses didn't deserve this. The developers behind it didn't deserve this. Warner Brothers might